Good job there. I mean, I'm sure that's obviously
we'll
well in the money now. So, all right, man. Yeah, congratulations. Good trading in the stink account. And let's go back over right now to the guys on the Midday Show. Ciao, everybody.
Smell it.
Boom! What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That right there is your boy Joey Options, and I am Tariff. Tariff.
The sheriff.
What's up, everybody? It was great to be off. So happy to be back in the midst of a real bull market here, Joseph. Yeah. Everything is up and to the right. I couldn't be happier. Yeah. The long term is singing. The Katina man is happy. Everything is good on the floor. I am being facetious. Shout out to Gladys S. and the Priceless Trader. How about sports and stonks and gin investing? I see you, sir. Shout out to you. We got Blue Arrow. We got X Baines. We got Papa Bear. We got Brandon Franklin and Monty G. Shout out to Dingleberg and the OG Gorev. Let's go. Volatility right back at you, baby. Shout out to T Money, Blue Arrow, Jameson, Super Nano. We got Volky. We got Oscarito, Mr. Plow, Bold. I'm not going to say that last part. I'd get in trouble. We got Racer X Dan and Alaric B, Patrick Riley. We got Yak. The Katina man wants me to get in trouble and get dinged on the tube. We got Alex, Hurt Scrambler, God Empower Almighty Forefather Trump. Okay, that's a mouthful right there, bro. Oslam, Skull, Apex House Cat. Okay, that's a lot. Lazy Rocks, couple more Josephs. Ebony Ellis and Sebastian. Shout out to everybody.
Multiple of me here, guys. Yeah, I mean, fun stuff here. Another gap down. You see the futures open up drastically lower last night. And here we go, continuing the bleed, but a nice recovery. The volatility is fully in effect here, guys. So with that being said, we have a good lesson on that. And then we're most definitely going to be talking about using the ability to hedge our options positions, because in this market, we're definitely going to need to do that. Shree, before we hop into your lesson, my friend, this is what we are going to go over. Let's see what we got going on for the top performing sectors this morning, guys. In first place, we got the tech sector up about 1.5%, apparently. So that's a good look there. Communications, 1.4%. Financials, about 0.5%. The bottom three, utilities, sitting in third last. They're about 0.6 down there, guys. And then 0.6 in the healthcare, and then about 3/4 here in the real estate sector. I haven't put on too much here today. My goal was just to not trade too much, wait for those setups. If we can pull up my chart here real quick, and then you can see that's really all I put on for this morning. Got stopped out, break even, took a little bit out, but never got right back in. Going to sit on my hands and wait for those A-plus setups.
Absolutely, Joseph. Well said. I think that is the day for that. So sound strategy there. We have a bit of an off-topic lesson, Joseph. It's not really,
not warranted.
In vogue at the moment. No, I'm kidding. I'm feeling extra sarcastic today. I don't know why. Maybe it's a coping mechanism from the shellacking that my long-term has gotten lately. All right, guys, we're talking about volatile markets, which offer huge potential for profits. You saw the Katina man and the Neil absolutely smash it this morning. Neil brought up a very good point. On days like this, it feels like it is easy to be green, but on other days, it may be a little bit different. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So volatile markets offer potential for huge profits, but require adjusted trading strategies compared to calmer periods. Here are 3 approaches that you can consider in these volatile markets. Breakout strategies. During these volatile periods, prices can break through resistance and support levels. I think we breached through all the support levels on the Mag 7. Maybe there's a few more still outstanding. More readily. So you can break through support and resistance at levels more readily. This can be a good time for breakout or breakdown trades. Same thing. You can, number 1, identify the first areas of support and resistance that you see on the ticker that you're looking for. So you're looking for areas where price has bounced off previously. The more, the better. So if it defended that $200 level 5 times and it only defended that 210 level once, be looking at that 200 level. So wait also for a confirmed breakout, a strong price move beyond the level or below the level with increased volume. You're probably not going to have problem finding volume on a day like this. This will suggest to you a potential trend continuation. And as always, when we are dealing with these markets, especially the one that we had this morning where we got a catalyst, which is set to be fake news, you need to set stop loss orders because things change in a freaking hurry. Volatility can be unpredictable, so place stop loss orders just below your support levels for long trades and above your resistance levels for short trades in order to limit losses. Scalping strategy. So we talked about breakout strategies. Let's talk about some scalping moves here. If you don't know, scalping involves taking advantage of small, frequent price movements. It can be a good fit for these volatile markets. One, because it focuses on the short term. Scalping, by definition, is a short-term exercise. So you aim to capture small profits quickly and exit the trade before the market reverses. Also, reduced exposure, very important here. You're in and out of trades a lot faster, limiting your risk to the volatile swings. So it tends to be maybe a little bit more safe during these more volatile markets. I'm talking about scalping strategies. And use, obviously, technical indicators. Use tools like your moving averages, your RSIs to identify short-term entry and exit points. But there's also fading strategies. So we've talked about breakout strategies, scalping strategies. How about the fading strategies now? So this strategy involves betting against the prevailing momentum. Obviously a bit more risky. So if things are skyrocketing up, you're looking short. If they're tanking down, you're looking long. So you're looking to fade strategies here. It can be risky, but during volatile markets, sharp price moves often are followed by corrections. So here's how. Step number one, you want to identify overbought and oversold conditions on names that you like, right? So you're looking for indicators like the RSI nearing extreme levels to suggest to you a potential reversal, and enter the opposite trade. So if the market is rallying excessively, consider a short position. Conversely, for a steep decline, you're looking for the opposite here. A long position might be a good fade candidate. And strict risk management. I really can't stress this enough, guys. Fading can backfire. If the trend continues, use sound stop losses at key levels in order to manage risk. And this is a page out of Joey Options book, but we're going to talk about some option strategies here. There are several option strategies that allow traders to capitalize on volatility. You can use bull call spreads. I'm not going to try to take my page out of my man's book here, but I'll just read what I've written. Bull call spreads involves purchasing a long call with a lower strike and simultaneously shorting a call with a higher strike and the same expiration. The maximum gain is the difference between the long and the short call, with the trade increasing in value as the stock price rises. You can also do your straddles and strangles, straddles involve purchasing a call and a put at the same strike price and expiration, producing a profit if the stock makes a big move in either direction. Strangles involve purchasing slightly out of the money calls and puts with the same expiration, producing a profit if an influx of volatility results in a big move in either direction. So ample amount of strategies that you can employ here to take advantage of these markets. But I'm going to submit to you guys one thing. The mental capital here should be above everything else. Now you're going to say to me, well, if I don't have any financial capital, then bun the mental capital. What's the point of the mental capital? Well, you can always make more money. The psychology, though, might take a lot more time to recover. That's just the way I see it. So make sure you are using sound risk management so you can preserve that mental capital and don't overtrade. And if you're in the negative, maybe there's one of those days you can walk away a little bit quicker. So I'm watching the market drop here again, Joseph. It looks like the market's taking a bit of a downturn. What do you got over there?
Yeah, good look there. And I like how you just mentioned some of those basic hedgings where you can kind of subsidize what's going on with the volatility. We'll definitely get more into that. I know I'm talking with a lot of traders here in the chat, Sharif, so everybody's feeling it around. When trillions of dollars have been eliminated from the market, if we're going to be a part of it, right, especially from the long term and everything. And that's why I'm happy. I have a little bit of cash in the long term, and I'm fully liquid in my swing account as well too. So I did really nice on some on some Amazon calls the previous week, but now I'm looking for that next trade. What is it? So what I had, and just to touch on what Sharif was talking about, is what I was looking to construct was a bull call spread on Hood. For now, I'm going to be a little bit more patient. Volatility is through the roof, so we're going to be paying IV like it's no tomorrow, and that's not necessarily something I want to do. So I'm okay with waiting another day or so before I open these trades and let that volatility slowly start to die off. And that way we're going to start paying less premiums in some of the trades that we are constructing. But we're most definitely going to get into depth about what we can do from a hedging standpoint. I like that Sharif mentioned you can use these spreads, but we can also use them in a calendar aspect too. We can buy partial insurance, and that's the beauty of these things. But let's get right into these markets as we start to pull back to the volume weighted average price. I woke up this morning and I'm like, wow, another gap down. I watched the futures open up at 6 o'clock yesterday. The Japanese market hit the circuit breaker as well too. Wow. Jose was telling us, which was crazy. The DAX was down 10%. I'm like, okay, let's just relax. There's not much we can do about it right now. We'll be patient. We'll see what the market does come open. And then you see that it was the littlest spark that set the market extremely higher here, but now we're starting to come back in, but you can see the volatility in the overall market. So we got a low of 482 and then we climbed to a 522. That's a 42-point swing in the SPY. You don't see that quite often, but the VIX is extremely elevated, so that's why we see the average true range in these underlying assets really start to expand here. So that is a good look. But let's see if we can get the ball rolling on TSLL. We're going to stick to our guns and things that are working. You can see that we have now had the inability to construct a new high, so that is really important to note here, guys. So what I'm going to do, we are hovering around the volume weighted average price. Could we continue to break down? Maybe, possibly, but I think with the volatility earlier in the session, we might start to see some more sideways price action with more whipsaw moves to the up and to the downside. So be patient. I don't know if the bottom is in. You got to take into consideration that the market only went down 20% as of Friday. So we've been in a bear market for 2 days, essentially. I like that what somebody that I talked with has, that we've only been in it for 2 days.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean? Someone mentioned it in my chat, and I'm like, that is like such a valid point. We've been in it for 2 days. Be a little bit more patient. And if you have cash on the side, start really slow here.
All right, Joseph, we're in a banger right now to start the dang show. MKDW, baby. Breaking out through $1. It's up big, Joseph. 547%. And this one is zigging. It's zagging. We've got a plethora of outs. Took the long through the break of one on the micro pullback. We're going to talk about the micro pullback a lot. It is a sound trading strategy when trading these small cap gappers. Tisha, where are you at, girl?
She was looking for you.
I know. She was in the show in the morning, but right now we're in MKDW. We're long at $1. We wet the beak all the way up into 18s there. I'm setting up again at 19s. I roll on 22s, Joseph, but I'm taking it out at 19s. And then we're going to set up at $1.25 as well. Let's throw that order out there. There's a lot of chop and churn right now on MKDW. You can see how thickly traded this is. Look how many shares are trading hands, and we're barely moving a penny at a time. This thing's already done. It just started moving, guys. Like the first halt for MKDW came in at around 10:52. So we've been trading for the better part of like 20 minutes. It did move initially, I want to say at 9:55. That was like the big first move that I'm seeing, but it was way south of my radar. It was like 35 pennies at the time. I only got notice of this one once it broke 85 pennies, and here we go again. We're going to take out that level. There's a seller at 19. That's the second time we've rejected at 19, and I've been watching for a whole 5 minutes. I'm being facetious again. No, but we don't need to watch that long to know that there's a hidden seller at a specific price level. Here's 18 again. Looks like they moved down a little bit. We're eating the size at 18. Boom! We take it out there, Joseph. Here we go. On to 21s we go. Now we're setting up at 25. MKDW. It's squeezing up big. It's 600 in the green.
Hey, let's go 600 in the green. The guy comes back and starts firing rounds off. Let's go. That's what you want to see from the guy to the right of me. Let's see if this trend line holds here in Tesla. I'm not expecting too much, guys. If we crack through it, then we're just going to get out as we start to pull in. We punch this. Could have got a better fill, and then as soon as I punch, we start heading lower. So that's quite comical. But yeah, I think we can continue to move a little bit lower here, running through some key support levels. All right, that's it. I'm out of dodge on this one here, guys. Don't want any part of this here right now. Love not getting fills, and then we just have to tap out like that. Okay, so yeah, that was not good. I don't understand why. We got 278 million, and I'm hitting mine, and I guess my
God,
cross wasn't too much. Yeah, we're tanking,
Joseph.
We're tanking large. And Tariff said to me, he said, Joe, how do you feel about that this morning? He said, how do you feel about Tesla? I said, well, I think it was going to go a little bit lower anyways, right? Like people were tripping me. It's 300 now. Well, okay, well, what's it at right now? It's 228. I'm out at 240. So again, I could just buy back lower at a significantly lower price. Yeah, I could have sold it higher, but there's uncertainty. The market hates uncertainty, and that's what we have going on right now. There's a couple things that I wanted to talk about Hood, as Hood is now taking a 50% haircut, Sharif, from the high. Yeah, a little bit more. At the lows, 52%. That is absolutely insane. And these stocks are getting beaten up. Why? I got some of my notes here on Hood. So Hood market volatility would lead to an initial. So this is what I was referring to, how increased volatility can benefit some of these financial stocks, right? So an increase in volatility will lead to a surge in trading volume. However, this will eventually lead to lower trading volumes and less assets under management, which will eventually lead to lower fee revenue. That is really key. So is that why the likes of Hood, Charles Schwab, IBKR, these guys are all...
Adara,
oh, sorry, am I not in there? Okay, yeah. They're all taking hefty haircuts. But let's see what Adara's up to. Oh, sorry, I'm not...
Keep an eye here on China. Donald Trump just came through 1 minute ago on Truth Social saying that because China has its 34% retaliatory tariffs, even though he warned that any country that retaliates further will get more retaliatory tariffs from the U.S., because of this 34% tariff, the U.S. said that if China does not withdraw this tariff by April 8th, the U.S. is going to impose additional tariffs to China valued at 50%. So Trump threatening 50% tariffs for China unless they withdraw their retaliatory 34% tariff by tomorrow. Additionally, he and his administration will end all talks with China with regards to apparently meetings that they have requested. Though he does say that negotiations with other countries will begin taking place immediately. So keep an eye here on the market. China bouncing a little bit here, but additional 50% tariffs on China on watch here, according to Donald Trump on Truth Social. Also, Fed's Kugler talking right now. Nothing supermarket moving being said, but worth noting that she did say that tariffs and shortages are going to be considered when forecasting what inflation will do. We know there is supposed to be here a bit of a, I believe, closed door Fed meeting at 11:30 a.m. So something to be aware of, but it is close. So we're not going to really get anything from that meeting. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. Yeah, I like that reference that you just made there. The individual in the chat, the Mad King Trump. That is a Game of Thrones there reference. Sharif, I'm in Tesla one more time. Let's see if we can get that continuation on the pop here, guys.
All right, I'm going to get stopped out for the last remaining amount if this loses $1. I'm talking about MKDW. It's trying to defend $1 right now. I've put my stop at 98 pennies. We're out of like 10/12ths of the, I don't know what the fraction of that is, man, of the position. We're going to keep an eye on this one. I've moved up my stop from 88 pennies to 98 pennies. I want to lock it in here because it's a different trade north and south of $1. I'm talking about these small caps, and so I don't want to be dancing with this one if I don't have to south of that $1. I took a couple of scalp trades here on Apple. I initially got in at 177.50. I got out scalp. I tried to add here, and then I ended up getting stopped out on the ad. Still positive on it though. Trying to extract some more profitability here on Apple as it comes into that key technical level of 175. We're 175 and change. It has defended 175 once, twice, and over here, Obi dang thrice. He killed it last week, by the way, on the show, and I want to thank Obi, obviously, for stepping in. My guy there is the OG. So AAPL, keeping an eye on this one, but my main focus has been on MKDW. We are less than a penny now, Joseph, of getting stopped out of the remaining amount on this name. We'll keep an eye on it. There we go. We get stopped out. Still positive on it, though. And here's what we're looking at. Sorry, I didn't even mention the small cap gappers that I've got on my view. And you'll notice, if you'll have a look at the screen here, very few of them are actually small cap gappers. I mean, ARTV fits the bill, maybe SWPH as well. But look at this. SMCX, we know what that is. That's a derivative of SMCI, not an options derivative, an equity derivative. SOXL, an index fund. SMR, OKLO, Rigetti, SMCI, none of these are small cap gappers, and that's because we're having a hard time finding them. Oh, and then a new one shows up onto the scene here, boys and girls, and whatever other genders there are out there. I'm talking about JNVR, Joseph. Look at this, JNVR halted to the upside at $21. Fantastic look. This one started moving in the pre at around 840. I don't know why I didn't have eyes on this. I think I had lost a bid. It was below VWAP. That's the problem. Now, it's above the volume weighted average price, but I want to tell you that this one is having a whole lot of trouble staying open. I mean, it kind of had its moment there in the pre-market, and after the bell started ringing, Joseph, it's been a halt fest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're in our 10th halt here on JNVR. Janover Incorporated, $30 million market cap, halted at $21. That does technically take out that high of the day that we put in at 10 a.m., which was $20.75. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Let's tell you exactly what the theoretical auction price is on our friend here, JNVR. JNVR, here we go. What is the theoretical auction price? $21.01. So one entire penny above that halt level. So we'll keep tabs on that. Yeah, you guys are having a field day with my comment there. Yeah, just calm down, bro. Calm down. All right, calm down, everybody. JNVR up 425%, Joseph. Not to be outdone, though, by its ugly cousin, MKDW. I don't know. Maybe this is the better looking cousin right now because up a little bit more. Yeah. Another one, Joseph, has weaseled its way onto the scene. There's a lot of weaseling today, baby. It goes by the ticker BJDX. Let's go and have a look at our friend BJDX. Neil's looking at me. Neil, I'm just reading out the ticker, Neil. What? Come on, Neil. Come on, Neil. You know I'm just reading out the ticker. Good look over here. This is awfully bull flag-ish. It's trying to straddle the volume-weighted average price from the south side. That ain't my move. It's obviously had a lot of trouble with $10, both in the pre-market and after the bell. You can see all the closing prints. South of that 10, it does have a propensity to wick above 10, but then gives up the ghost all too quickly. I'm talking about that 710 pop. I'm talking about that 940 pop yet again, Joseph, at 1005, and then it had a misaligned adventure over here at about 1030, tried to take out 10 again. This one's zigging, it's zagging. If it can get above 10 and stay above 10, it's a hell of a trade. Let's keep an eye out on this one.
Yeah, let's keep an eye out on these things, Sharif. As we start to head to some of these key support levels in the overall market, holding on to this Tesla, if we crack 7, then I'm going to have to get out of there because that's a little bit more risk than what I would like to give it. But that just shows me when I used to trade this thing, or used to, last week when I'm trading this thing, if you gave it a 10-cent stop, then you're all the way down at the chart. Like, you need to give this thing a couple pennies, but now a 10-cent stop here is like roughly one candlestick. So not good with that ATR. I'm going to have to give it to 7. So, and it's looking like we might head a little bit lower here, guys, as the market is continuing to dive deeper into this tariff war talk, man. There's no stopping it. It doesn't seem when I was looking at the daily prints, I'm like, okay, we're going to get a gap down again because there was no indecision print. It was a full-on bearish print as we close at the lows and continue to sell in the post-market as well, too, guys. So I'm like, oh, okay, that is not a good sign. And then now you can see Tesla from a daily perspective really working below some of these support levels. And I don't know if we have the ability to kind of crack above that. We are starting to roll into earnings season as well too, Sharif. Friday, all the big banks start reporting. Let's see what they think. Guidance is going to be important, but what's more important is what Adara's got for us.
Yeah, that's important too.
I am not. Robinhood took commissions out of the equation, and that was huge, but trading still meant risking your own cash. Trade the Pool is picking up where Robinhood left off, but making it possible to trade big without risking big. They let you trade with company capital, up to $200,000, while your risk stays locked at just a one-time fee starting at $47. No margin calls, no big deposits, just skill, strategy, and real opportunity. This is the future of trading, so join Trade the Pool. Back to you.
Adara, yeah, guys, so we're back in this, holding on to this Tesla. It looks like the shorts are going to be coming into play. I'm going to take a look at the TQs as we run into some key support levels, but now we got to wait for that pullback before we play the crack because the momentum was definitely in the earlier half hour of the session. So might get that pullback constructing another lower high and then look for that move to the downside. Be patient. The volatility is in, guys. Make sure you have those stop losses in place. Reduce share size most definitely, because you can see how much that average true range has picked up here in the TQs and in every single underlying asset in the market, all right? So, Kalu, why would you go TSL shares and not options? What is the selection criteria so that I can learn? So here we just trade shares, right? So that's why I'm not using any form of options contracts. So that's why I would go TSLL. Also, it's 2x and it's significantly cheaper. So every 1% move in Tesla, you get a 2% move in TSLL. So that's exactly why. It's just taking advantage of a leveraged product, essentially kind of like options too. So holding these support levels, I'm still in this, Sharif. If we crack 7, then we're going to get out of Dodge. Let's take a look at some of the top performing stocks this morning via volume, because that's what we want to do. Where is my thing? Okay, so yeah, let's take a look. Man, 338 million shares already traded on NVDA this morning, Sharif. I seen it at a low south of 90, which is not good. And then Tesla only has, well, not only, but I mean 100 million shares 2 hours into this market. So, yeah, exactly. And Hertz Scrambler, you're paying so much for implied volatility. That's why you want to be patient. That's why I'm glad. So yesterday when I'm doing my TA, I had a thesis built on Robinhood. I'm like, okay, I like the daily print. I like that we have that indecision, bottoming tail candle, island pivot there, Sharif, as well, too. Let me put out a possible bid to get filled on a bull call spread. But then as soon as I seen those futures open, I removed that and I said, let me be more patient, because if the volatility is stepping in, I'm going to be paying a hefty amount of implied volatility premium, and that's not what I want to do right now. I'm going to wait for the volatility to cool off and then base trades off of that. What was my thesis? Let's pull it up right now. So this is what I was thinking here, guys, on Robinhood for this morning. Hoping to get a fill, but I removed it. So you can see that we had a double gap down day, and then we start to form this isolated volume signature and that island gap. So what I was looking to do was play the crack of that in for a potential bounce to whatever my price target was. I was happy with it, right? The 40s, mid 40s, low 40s, etc. That was the type of move I was getting. But then when the futures opened up, I'm like, oh, okay, no, we have to remove this because it's going to drag a lot of these names down with it. And sure enough, we got exactly that. We opened up at 30, and then we climbed to a high of 36 in a matter of a couple minutes, and I wanted no part of this. I'm going to wait for that volatility to cool off, and then I'm going to build trade theses off that. I do believe with these multiple gap downs, there's going to be good potential bounce plays as well here in some of these big names, Sharif.
All right, guys, a couple of things to update you on. Let's bring in the side charts. I want to talk about the Apple trade that I had. We did we got some revenge on that one, so we'll talk about that one in a second. But I want to talk about these are the two biggest small cap gappers. When I loaded up my screen, I was prepping for the show. I couldn't really find that many good small cap gappers. There are two really good ones that are really going now. Both are triple digit winners with potential for quadruple digits. I would submit to you right now, JNVR, the best candidate for that quadruple digit. I don't think we've had a quadruple digit small cap gapper yet in 25, at least not one that's over $1. Maybe south of $1, but I wouldn't know about that. Anyway, JNVR halted to the high side, 25.71. Just to give you some context as to how aggressively this is trading, this closed out on $4 on Friday. So the opening print today, or the closing print, excuse me, today, on Friday was $4. With the opening print, it looks like $4.60 or something like that. So gapped up an entire 60 pennies. That looks like a distant dream now, though. Because it feels like a long time ago, 25.71, the halt level. We'll keep an eye out on that one. MKDW still trading quite well. Even though it's south of $1, it's still above the 10 exponential. It's still above VWAP. It's above key technical levels. It looks like there's some buying here at 90 pennies. It's maybe the second bull flag. I mean, there's the initial bull flag. We pull back about half. We continue on. We make like a bull flag twice the size of the first one. In any event, let's see if we can get that continuation above the $1.20. I'm talking about MKDW. So really good look on both of these at the moment. So I'll keep my eye out on that one. And let's find out when JNVR is scheduled to open. Do we have that bad boy? We do. 11:26:18 is when it halted, and the current time, at least on my clock, is 11:30:05. So we have another minute and 10 seconds on JNVR if it is to be a 5-minute, not a 10-minute halt. So fantastic look so far on JNVR. We'll keep an eye out on that. But this is the trade that I had on Apple. So I initially got long and then added to the position. I ended up giving back a little bit on Apple because of that ad. Then I flipped short. And this seems to be the best look right now on Apple. Even if you were to take the earlier headline that China was not going to be exempt from the suspension of the tariffs for 90 days. That's still bad for Apple, man. They make like 90% of their iPhones in China. Even if they de-risk to Vietnam, the majority of the components that are made are coming in from China. So it's going to be a tough one. I think that Apple stands to suffer here unless they were able to secure an Apple-specific exemption. Question is, have they done that in the past? The answer is more nuanced. It's yes and no. In the Trump 1.0 administration, they were able to secure certain exemptions, not all. So input costs are going to go up, whether you like it or not. That's the situation. The only question is, does the consumer continue to buy at a higher price? My personal opinion is not as much. So that's just my opinion there. In any event, keeping an eye on Apple. JNVR is the one that I want to keep my eye on, and it just opened up, Joseph, and it's up big. It was halted at 24, and now it's at 29.14. This thing's up 620%. This might be the first quadruple digit winner in small cap gapper world for 25. It looks like we're going to halt here at 14s, 29.14, Joseph. The halt level, if we continue with this halt parameter for a few more seconds, let's see if it halts over here or whether it's a false halt. It is halted, 29.14, the top being 29.15. What a day it has been on this market. I was talking to Brendo this morning. I'm like, if they hadn't changed the way that, the grad system, I'm talking about real trading. Imagine how many grads there would have been last week on some of the shorts.
On the shorts, yeah.
It would have been crazy the way that they were trading a little bit before.
Yeah, through the roof. And someone in the chat yesterday posted some of the top performers people were trading yesterday, and some nice
on tip?
Some nice gains in the Japanese market, etc. But yeah, Sharif, just to add kind of to, did you hear about that new Copilot release recently?
No.
Yeah, so the AI agent, right? Yeah, I'm a big Copilot. Yeah, but dude, Copilot released that AI agent, so a bunch of updates going on. So it's essentially what Siri was supposed to do, but now Copilot has that you can now update your app and you can have this AI agent that is supposed to now do some certain things on your phone.
That's fantastic, but you got to use it on your computer, right?
I think you can use it on your phone. You can
So you have to set it up like with the hotkey and stuff like that. Yeah,
something along those
I've seen
lines,
people do that with chat. They set up on the whatever they're calling it on the iPhone these days, that new key on the side.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking
I think
about?
I know what you're talking about there.
Is it called the hotkey, Katina, man? You know what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, people set up chat for that as well.
So, yeah,
so is that chat? Is that OpenAI's model or is that Microsoft proprietary?
Microsoft, that's Copilot, yeah. So there you go. They got some new stuff. Microsoft, 50-year anniversary, exactly. I had some notes on it. So that's essentially what Siri was looking for, that new release, that Apple Intelligence, but now Copilot coming out with their own version and releasing that on the 50th anniversary. So that would be interesting to dive into. But what also we want to dive into here, guys, just holding on to these TSLA shares to see if we can get this bounce. It's not looking too good here, guys. As you can see, we're constantly constructing lower highs. So if we break through this support level, we're going to have to get out of this trade. But I mean, if you guys want to talk about volatility, Sharif, when was the last time you've seen Amazon move 20 points in a day? That is insane.
Oh, yeah. If we're going to start with that, when is the last time you seen? We're going to be here for a while.
Exactly. When is the last time? That is a very valid point there. But, I mean, from an intraday standpoint, 161 at the lows, trades up to 183. I've personally never seen Amazon have that type of movement. And that would just be like, hey, the volatility is most definitely in here, guys. But again, so like just going back to basic hedging and stuff. So if you're looking to sell some options against some of your positions, you can also, if you're doing poor man's covered calls, etc., if you already have options contracts open, what you can do is utilize calendar spreads to be like, hey, I only want to hedge for certain duration. So if you have an expiry that's a year away from now, you can be like, okay, I only want to protect my downside for 3 months. So that way you can go to like the June, July, August expiration cycles and just have those partial heads for some temporary downside. So that's what I do essentially with my options trades. When I construct bull spreads, I use it from a calendar standpoint, and I'll also use the ratio spread where I'm obviously have the I want to make my top side more unlimited compared to limited when I just do a 1-to-1 hedging there. So yeah, that's what you can do. Utilize those calendar spreads in this environment, guys. Have those temporary hedges in place. You can collect premium, and right now you're going to collect a nice amount of premium if you start hedging and the volatility starts to die down, because we've seen that the VIX spiked all the way up to about 50, north of 50 at some point. We'll pull up the VIX right now to see what we got going on from that front, on that front. But again, it's an options writer's world right now, other than just, to a certain extent. You don't want to be too short right now on the wrong side of the short end of that stick. But I mean, up to 60, that is crazy. We were at 30 closing last week, just a little bit below that. Dude, I love it when it does that. Oh, it's so frustrating. But anyways, we'll talk.
We can blame Trading View though, right?
We'll blame Trading View there on that one there. Oh, why did I do that?
Jay Lee,
what's he saying?
He's chilling. He's like, Sharif, Joseph, Trump has shown his hand.
Yeah.
Israel set all tariffs to 0. U.S. kept 17%. He is not reciprocating LMAO. SQQ's 80 plus this week, in my humble opinion. Jay Lee has spoken. Shout out to the OGJ.
There you go. So, I mean, I think those things will take time, right? He's not just going to be like, okay, yeah, he gave tariffs all around the board from everybody, and then now you hear that some countries are like, well, okay, we'll go 0 for 0, but I think that will take some time. And now that everything is in hindsight, Sharif, there's obviously ways that it could have been dealt with better. He didn't need to slap everybody. He'd just been like, hey, we're going to negotiate this, or this is going to happen. But that hasn't been the case. He just went extremely aggressive, and then now everybody's in a complete panic mode, I think.
All right, Joseph, we got right back into MKDW. We did the exact same thing again. It obviously showed its propensity to put higher lows. I punched long at 104. We scalped into 116. It drops back down into my entry. I stop out break even. So I'm going to continue to trade MKDW until it either breaks down decisively below that dollar, at which point I won't trade it because it's a bit of a different trade south of that dollar. But if it holds that dollar, especially that $1.20, where it's been having a lot of trouble, that'll get me more excited about this trade, and I'll yell even louder, and more hand gestures will come your way. Adara, can I show that or not?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So I want to shout out Adara, man. She's killing it these days with the infographics. And her and I were just joking the other day that there should be a YouTube-specific Donald Trump channel just to cover this guy anytime he's chiming in. We'll do one a little bit better. We'll give you an infographic as to all the speeches planned, that is, and interviews, press conferences, etc., that Donald will be scheduled on the day. There you go, April 7th, today, 1 o'clock. He's going to meet Prime Minister, of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. It's an open presser. Then at 2 p.m., he'll participate in a bilateral meeting with Bibi at the White House press pool. 2:30. He's going to participate in another interview with Bibi Netanyahu in a pre-credentialed media. I'm not sure what that is, Adara. Tell us.
Yeah, I guess it's just media that's been pre-allowed over. It's, I guess, open press versus pre-credentialed media. That schedule really only has open press events. But there's one event that I guess was not on the schedule today when I checked earlier a couple hours ago. President Trump has hosted at the White House the LA Dodgers. He is currently talking about the LA Dodgers. So be aware, Trump talking right now, again, it has to do with baseball seemingly, but there's always the opportunity at any event for a Q&A where Trump has very often, as of late, been asked about tariffs. Here is the NASDAQ guys. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Adara. Luis Martinez says the guys, blah, 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 say trade the volatility and not direction. Can you guys talk about this? Yeah, absolutely. So essentially what I believe they're referring to, I can't get inside their minds, obviously, is what I was saying earlier, right? This is what an options writer's dream because you have heightened volatility. And with that, you can construct credit spread trades that aren't as directionally biased as to just buying options, all right? So if you were to construct a bear call spread, you can write something far out of the money and just plan to play that volatility, hoping that it starts to decay day after day, and the exact same thing via a bull put spread, opposed to going the inverse of that. If we go a bear put spread, so that means we are directionally biased. We are expecting underlying assets to move in a specific direction. But when you are playing volatility, you can construct multiple types of strategies via whether it be a short straddle, short strangle, iron condor being one of my favorites. You can just create a range and collect the premium. And now that with heightened volatility, you're going to collect more premium, so you can essentially construct your top thesis, lower thesis, whatever it may be, in much wider ranges and not have to worry about the underlying asset exceeding through some of those support and resistance zones. So when they say play the volatility, essentially what I believe they're referring to is start writing, because you're going to be collecting really good premiums. And if volatility starts to decay, that's only going to benefit you there. So yeah, I
don't know if this is accurate or not. I don't know if Adara, you reported on this. European Union offers President Trump zero tariffs on industrial goods. Did we report on that?
No, not yet.
Okay, so yeah, that's being by I guess it's happening here. What's the president of the ECB, Ursula von...
I would have no idea.
I forget her name. Yeah, you guys will know in the chat. So that's what I'm seeing right now coming in on the news blotter there. So we'll keep tabs on that. Not obviously really reacting positively is the market. I see ARTV, guys. It's just not tradable for me right now, but this one is breaking out to the top side. I did see that 370 break. It's not in our system, so we'll get that put in, but big move up here. It's taking out $4. We've got yet another small cap gapper candidate. It goes by ARTV, taking out $4 at 415, about 70% now, 71 and going. Every time I look, it's a little bit higher there. So ARTV, MKDW, JNVR, those are the top small cap gappers right now. Despite the fact that JNVR is halted to the downside, it's still up 555.75%. With MKDW, I was just involved in that one. I might get involved again because it seems to have a whole lot of support for whatever reason here at 95 to 90 pennies right now at the 10 exponential moving average. Adara, what's up?
Here's the NASDAQ still, I guess, bouncing off of this repeated support area around 415. We do have some reports coming out from a CNBC reporter on X suggesting that China's meeting with executives from companies like Tesla, GE Healthcare, and Medtronic, apparently pressuring them to act as, quote, rational voices against the current forces in Washington, specifically with regards to tariffs. So keep an eye on any of those companies, Tesla, GE, Medtronic, apparently those executives meeting with China. It's also worth noting here, Sharif, when it comes to the 0 for 0 tariffs, these comments were made a couple hours ago, came out a little bit before the open. There was no market move at the time, so that's why they were not mentioned. But yeah, 0 for 0 tariffs, that announcement did come out a while ago. They did say, though, that they're not going to be moving those VATs that we know Donald Trump has had an issue with. Back to you.
Yeah, you're a great addition there, Adara, because Donald Trump has made it very specific in his calculation for tariffs. He's including VAT, he's including qualitative, not just quantitative, but qualitative restrictions on trade. He's including that in his formula. Now, there's a lot have been made about the formula. It was got off ChatGPT, or it uses incorrect numbers with respect to trade imbalances to gauge what the tariffs are supposed to be. Lots has been talked about that, and maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but they're immaterial because the person with the decision-making powers doesn't give a you-know-what, and he's implementing them anyway. So whether you figured out where he got it from or you didn't, really doesn't make a difference to him. It looks like he's doubling down on it. We're going to have to wait and see exactly. ARTV, Joseph, keeps going higher. This one, 470 now, high a day, zigging and zagging. It touched, I think, 95% in the green ever so briefly, right back down into 4 1/3 though, well above that $4 area, well above the volume weighted average price, which is at 390. So let's see if this one's got some juice.
Some juice. OJ the Juice Man. I guess no one really likes that guy anymore. But here we go, guys. Google as well starting to climb higher. But the thing is here, you can see that we're constructing consistent lower highs, but we do have that base in. Can we start to squeeze? Maybe, possibly, and I think that's what the market might be heading towards. If we can't break through some of the resistance zones, then we can break through those supports, right? So, but I do think that Tesla and some of these big Magnificent Seven names are going to start to continue to climb higher and maybe go approach those lows of days. Hood starting to recover, Tesla coming back to those highs, Amazon starting to run into some resistance zones as well too. So very similar price action prints here. We're still sitting in this. I have to add some, but I'm not going to add any just yet here, guys, on this TSLA trade, just due to the just due to the fact that we might break down, right? We got to be a little bit more patient. You can see that the average shoe range is starting to condense and decay, which is a positive sign. We might be able to get some buyers to step in, but again, with a massive drop down in the markets, it's not too good of a look. And we'll be patient, widen those stops, and that's exactly what we had to do here in Tesla. This was a mid-range stop, so that's I'm not complaining about getting out there, but then again, if we don't hop back in, then we're not going to be able to partake in those trades. I didn't jinx anything, Ravine Millionaire. Come on, man. What do you mean? Yeah, so there we go. No, because I know. Blame Canada, I guess. Unfortunately, that's a South Park reference for those who don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, here, this is essentially what I'm looking at here, guys. If we can break through that, then I believe we can, a lot of the names are going to break through it, but it doesn't look like it right now, and then you can also implement the level of support. One thing to note is that we have filled the gap as well, too, so that is not a good sign for us to continue to move to the top side. But Google looking not as bad, maybe, but still hefty haircut here, guys. Amazon down quite a bit, 31%. From those all-time highs is Google. Let's take a look at Amazon. Also along the same lines. Now it opened lower, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. 33% haircut in Amazon. Now back to which levels are we roughly sitting around? That is January of 2024 there, guys. So there you go, a whole year of gains gone in a matter of a couple months there, Sharif. All
right, we're short OKLO. This is a technical trade. Even though it's up on the day, it's up 12%. It's obviously having trouble with this level over here at 2250. You don't got to be a chartered market technician to see this rejection, that rejection, and yeah, just another one right now. So we're in it. A small position, wet the beak there at 22.15. Waiting next at 22.04. I have a dollar call. I got another short order that didn't get filled, a little bit higher. So if it does pop up and take out some levels to the high side, I'd get a little bit more with my out being the area high. Simple as that. So if it breaks above that 22.60, we're Gonzino OKLO. Still keeping an eye on ARTV. As zigged all the way almost to $5, kind of bull flagging right now. This current 5-minute candle is an engulfed candle, meaning it's ensconced by the previous candle from the high side and the low side, so keep an eye on that. JNVR is now open. Thank you. I appreciate that, Neil. JNVR is now open. Down into 24 goes. The high of the day there got a double top, a skosh above 29. Looks like 29 and a fifth, 29 and a quarter. So we'll keep tabs on that one. I'm still very interested in getting back into MKDW. Look how well this is holding up. This is bull flagging here. At least that's how I feel. Despite the fact that it is south of $1. It's zigging a little bit above $1 and dropping a little bit below $1. But what keeps happening every time on MKDW, at least till now, for now, is it's defending that 90 penny area. Why? I don't know, but there's a buyer down there, and it looks like it is setting up that consolidation aspect of the bull flag. So that's what I'm considering right now. Back to OKLO, we're still, break even at the moment. Nothing really doing over here. We've got 34s. We did get that ad, so we'll look to scalp out some more on the downside if it'll have us. OKLO, Joseph, keeps coming down into that up into that 2250. Met with some selling.
Nice, good look there. Yeah, guys, considering I've been talking about Tesla a lot, I watched some interesting stuff on it, kind of just comparing Tesla to BYD. So here's some numbers, guys. So in 2024, BYD reported about $107 billion. That's 29% higher year over year and 9% higher than its rival Tesla. BYD EV sales in 2024, about 1.7 million, which is really close to Tesla's just a little under shy of 1.8 million. But total sales of BYD 4.5 million. It is now bigger than Nissan, Honda, and Ford, Sharif. So yeah, and the beauty thing is that it has cars ranging from 10,000 to 230K. So it had 100,000 EV sales in 2018, and now over 1.7 million in 2024, which is absolutely phenomenal, and 100,000 engineers. So I mean, these guys are just taking the car market by storm and continue to do so. I was reading that they have 100,000 engineers, Sharif, so they're most definitely being innovative on that front. And they whatever they say, they come up with, right? So not delaying the Roadster or anything like that. So not a good look there for Tesla, especially if its nemesis is going to be BYD, because they are really continuously getting that ball rolling and picking up steam here, guys. But let's see if Tesla can start to pick it up here. I mentioned just go through the SPY, the Qs, and the Meg 7, and you can see the similarities within the price action prints here, guys. We are forming that ascending wedge, price really starting to compress. Which way are we going to break? Are we going to head back towards those highs of days, or do we crack it to the downside? We have to be patient and wait. That volume will tell us most definitely which way to go, and it might be to the top side, as Apple is now at the volume weighted average price. I haven't looked at Microsoft today, but it has been taking a beating. I know it had its 50th anniversary there over the weekend, releasing that new Copilot. But again, if you go through all of the Meg 7 names, the price action prints are extremely identical. So we'll actually go to the underlying here. So that's Tesla. We'll pull up on the 5-minute, guys, so you can see forming that this downside, those constructing those lower highs. But then we got this nice definitive base right here. We go to the likes of Amazon, identical price action here, and the same thing with Google as well too, guys. So when everything is kind of correlating like that, just wait for the volume to step in and lead you in the direction that it's going to go. I've seen multiple stocks, but like all of the Meg 7 with the similarity price action is very intriguing to me. So I'll be patient, wait for it to step in. It has now drastically fallen off. That is good for a decay in volatility. So if you're writing some calls at the peak here in the VIX, you're doing pretty good because it is slowly decaying here, Sharif.
Yeah, man. It's no good.
No.
All right, we're back into MKDW on the long. I didn't get my most ideal price, full disclosure, 97s. We've already wet the beak on the move above $1. I've put my stop below 90 pennies. Let's see if this one wants to hold. I mean, it is technically putting in lower highs, so a flat bottom break could be in the works. And what what we're talking about, a flat bottom break, typically what we see is lower highs with a same distinct low. That 90 penny area doesn't have to be an exact price. It has to be a general area where it keeps bouncing off. I'll submit to you guys that's in the low 90s. So we're getting lower highs right now. Let's see if this one wants to do what we're predicting. I'm still short OKLO. We've got multiple beak wetters here. It's not as weak as I thought it would be because there was an obvious level of technical resistance in and around this area. We're positive on it. We did get the addition. I did add a little bit into this. It's got a wider spread at times. Right now, it's respectable. It's 2 penny spread, not hard to deal with, but sometimes it opens up 6 and 7 pennies, and that is a bit of a problem for me because I don't like wider spreads, unlike the woman at the big desk who thrives on the wider spreads. There I am talking about Darryl LePage. I'm also wanting to talk about ARTV because this one is losing it super quick right now. This one did pop up into 495, and quick as you like, we dropped down into 370. A predictable area though. I wouldn't have picked it up there, just to full disclosure, because it would have been south of VWAP. VWAP right now is at 420, but there is a level of previous area of resistance, that top end of the range over here on ARTV at around 3 high 60s, 3 low 70s. This one comes into 372 and then pops back up into about $4. Let's see if it can get above the volume weighted average price. I won't be taking it long unless it does do that. All right, we're getting the prints here on OKLO. Not bad look, not a bad look. Still definitely waiting for some lower prints over here. We've got 35s. We just got a print at 17s. Now we're waiting in the low teens and in the single digits. OKLO, it's up big. It's up 12% on a day where the overall market is down big. So it's definitely a counter trend trade right now, but it is coming into a technical level that I like. And so as we discussed today in the lesson, this is a scalp trade. I'm not going to be looking to holding this all day. Bang. Again, we take out more there. Now we're waiting in the single digits. OKLO, Joseph, dropping off that 2250.
Good look there. So you can see that we are rejecting this trend line here on the Qs. So that's why I just took a little short. If we break through it, then I'll just get out of the trade. No worries about that. But you can see the consistent constructing of lower highs. And that's for short, that's what you want to see, right? So we'll be patient. Hopefully we can get to the low a day. That'll put us around 38.50. We're going to start really small, but if we squeeze through that, I'm long TSLA and TQQ. So kind of, I wouldn't necessarily hedge against myself, but something along those lines. Again, we break through it, we break lower, that's going to be a positive sign. We'll continuously add to this position and get out if it decides it wants to break to the top side. But let's go Tesla and TQQQ. All right, guys, yeah, if there's anything you want us to go over in the chat, put it in there. We got 6,000 of us watching, 6,100 to be exact, Sharif. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. And if there's any names that you want to go over or any options talk, feel free to let me know and put it in the chat, and I will take a look at that. That being said, what is the options market telling us today, Sharif, and where are the possible ranges that we might be trading within? So those are the 1 days. Wow, this is very interesting stuff for what I'm seeing from an open interest standpoint.
Tell us.
Not necessarily. I thought I would see a lot more OI, Sharif. To be honest, the volume is there, but it's the amount of contracts that are remaining open is drastically lower than usual here. So people closing and getting out of positions seem to be the narrative. I don't know. Okay, we'll throw it on me. We'll throw it on me there. So essentially, what I'm getting at is, even though we have heightened volume, people are closing what positions they've had currently open from previous cycles. That is not a good sign whatsoever. We want to see that open interest continuously increase, and that's not what we're getting here on the Qs and or in the SPY. I'm going to look for the highest level possible to say, hey, this might be our weekly range, but it's so hard to tell because of the volatility that has stepped in the market. So what we'll do is we'll go to this Friday's expiration cycle to see what we can get. So that will put us at the 9th here. Okay, so, or no, 10th, sorry. And guys, I'm not seeing anything. The range is so vast now that I can't find anything where it's like 10,000, 20,000 open contracts. I'm literally seeing it in the hundreds, and that's not a positive sign.
That's no good.
No.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the way that cookie crumbles there, baby.
Yeah.
All right, we got another beak wetter there on MKDW as it zigs and zags with that $1 area. It's above $1 now, but as you can see, when it gets into that dollar, it has a propensity for the spread to open up. And that's unusual because it's a dollar. So that typically the spreads are super tight on these cheaper stocks, but that's showing you a little bit of a tug of war happening. Again, look at this, 1 on the bid, 102 on the ask, losing it again. So we just got the fill there at 105 as it had a quick price spike. We've got a couple of more beak wetters left on this bad boy, so let's go ahead and set up maybe one at 107. Let's set up there, but it does feel like it's still being kept down. What's keeping me involved in this MKDW trade is the respect that it has or it's showing for the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. This is kind of what you'll see. This is kind of what I'm seeing, excuse me. This is the green line, that's the 10 exponential, and as you can see, all the closing prints as well as the wicks seem to be bouncing off that level. So whatever algo's trading this is obviously using the 10 exponential, or that's my view of things. The volume weighted average price, excuse me, at about 85 pennies. What I was saying about this one earlier was I was concerned that we could get a flat bottom break. That usually happens when we start seeing a pattern that we know as a descending wedge. Essentially, it's a triangle with lower highs and a flat bottom. So if you take this area as your area crest, well, that's one area high. Then you're looking at this area high, a little bit lower than its predecessor, and another little bit lower than its predecessor over here. So we're getting these flat bottom, these lower highs with that 90-ish, 91, 92 pennies acting as a general area of support. So typically what ends up happening is that this one flat bottom breaks. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it is something to be aware of there. So keeping an eye out on that. Let's have a look. I think I just got a print on something else over here. It's OKLO because, OKLO, we're printing, man. We're printing on OKLO. It's all the way down into 22s. We had 35s. We just got the beak wet there right at 22 or a little bit above, sorry, 2202s. How many outs do we have on this one? We've got one more out on OKLO. I've already moved down my stop from the prior area to high to my entry because I've taken out the majority of the position. If you're wondering why the hell I'm shorting OKLO, and specifically what somebody asked me there in the chat, thank you for bringing this up, I forget who you are. Hey, Sharif, I noticed you shorted OKLO above VWAP. Oh? Well, that's a great question because I always champion do not short above VWAP, but that's one big caveat is that's for small cap gappers. I don't mind shorting Apple above VWAP. I don't mind shorting NVIDIA above VWAP. It's got to be a good technical level, and I'll submit to you, Joseph, that this was a technical level that I like. Okay. This was once, twice, and then OB thrice. Here's the deal, though. This looks like it could be a flat top break, Joseph. The reason is it's the exact opposite of that MKDW. Whereas we were getting lower highs with a flat bottom on MKDW, we're getting higher lows and a flat top on OKLO. In other words, I won't overstay my welcome. Maybe I'll be done this trade by the time we're done happening now. And Neil's lesson of the day.
Okay.
Let's take a look here at this market. S&P 500, these lower highs here on the 15-minute chart. Now, if you're wondering why all of this volatility, this drop to the downside, violent push to the upside, and drop back to the downside, basically what happened was at around, 10 a.m. today, we did have reports coming through that White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett had said that Donald Trump was considering a 90-day pause for tariffs for countries that were not China. Then we had initially CNBC reporting that, to their knowledge, no one in the White House had heard of this. White House then coming up themselves saying this is quote-unquote fake news. But we did have some actual tariff updates from Donald Trump himself on Truth Social. He says that if China does not get rid of their 34% retaliatory tariffs, the U.S. will be initiating 50% tariffs on China effective tomorrow. So China hasn't put a day to get that together and figure that out. There are some movers here in other sectors. Xenon here, XENE. This one, about 70 million share float, not necessarily a super small cap, trading around $30. On Friday morning, they announced they're going to be showcasing their long-term results for one of their treatment data at this AAN 2025. That event started yesterday or Saturday, and it goes until Wednesday, so keep an eye here in XENE, moving with a little bit of volatility. JNVR, as mentioned earlier, moving a little bit as well. Then there's Tesla here, bit of a flat bottom break formation forming for TSLA, still pretty weak after noted Tesla and tech bull Dan Ives actually cut his forecast for the stock on Wedbush, going from a $550 price target to $315. And then we have Amazon, AMZN, by far here the strongest of these Mag 7 names, up about 1%, but still pushing to the downside, looking kind of similar to Tesla and to the futures. Let's see what unfolds for the rest of the day. But before we send you back to the Bash Brothers, we have to see what Neil's doing with his lesson of the day. Take it away, Neil.
Well, you see something new every single day in the market. To a certain extent, maybe not completely new. It's always a different, same rules, different story every day. But every now and then, you might flat out see something that, well, to my memory, I don't remember seeing. And that was, we talked about volatility recently. It's in the market. For us, we can look at UVXY, you can look at the VIX, whatever it might be. But today, something unique happened. You were able to look at something which you use potentially as a leading indicator that halted down. So, obviously, in the moment, as the story was coming through, or at least the rumor was coming through of the pause on tariffs, you saw UVXY halted down. And you would say, how do you take advantage of that? Obviously, I haven't seen it halt down. I didn't catch it right away. Usually, this is not something you would expect to see have happen. But if you look at the void that this caused right at that bottom, about 10, 12, and then you look over just a couple of notable names at that exact same time, as this was going, you know what, out of all hell, you actually had a breakout. So remember, a correlation, stock prices go up when volatility goes down and vice versa. So that halt down means that you're having capitulation in the VIX. And at that moment, that's where you had the second leg to the upside, breaking things out of the top. NVIDIA, maybe not the cleanest one, but certainly it showed dip support going into the high of the day because the halt happens actually as it's pulling back in. Another place where you could have looked, of course, and this is actually the more clean one, and again, you're breaking out here, but you take out the pre-market high of the day on that halt. So because it's a volatility halt, you know the VIX is going to stay closed for a little bit here, and there's that pause. That gives you that extra bit of time or room for a quick little pop trade. It's not like you're looking to hold it necessarily. You don't have to hold it past whatever the halt might be on the VIX, which was not that, it's not that long, but it still provided you with that breakout potential. And you can go down the line and look at a lot of risk names in the tech space that gave you that exact same look. Now it cuts in both ways. Obviously, in this particular case, it was pretty bullish, and you want to be able to respect that. But have a look at what happens when we open back up. We open up and we go right into where everything dropped from and pull back in. That's at about 10:39. Well, any guesses at what you could have been doing at, let's just say 10:39 or so? This is right when, and again, volatility got into resistance where it then halted down after failing. Well, that's the exact moment that Amazon bounced off of VWAP, the Qs bounced off of VWAP, NVIDIA bounced off of VWAP. Notice the trend here. I mean, AMD bounced off of VWAP. And so this is the thing. Like, once it showed you that we were accelerating off that halt, where the UVXY went next, and you can look at the VIX, doesn't really matter. Like I said, we have UVXY here that we can chart. Where you got to and then pull back showing you resistance was pretty much when you wanted to then reload the longs. So what do you think we'll look for this afternoon? I don't know, if we retest VWAP here in the VIX and find ourselves at a decent support level, like a volume weighted average price or something's bouncing off a low, I think you got to look for some of those longs. Every now and then, you're going to have an indicator which you might not get to use every single day because, let's be real, volatility isn't always this big of a deal. But when it does, it gives you new opportunities to trade from. Not just the breakout on the halt, but then those dip buys off VWAP, which corresponded with us pulling right back into the first obvious area simultaneously. Just giving you some confluence. So I know we all look at the futures, and some people look at, maybe you might look at TLT or look at yields. Right now, volatility is showing you the goods when you're momentum trading, so we can start taking advantage of it. Now, is it going to halt every single day? Probably not. But you never know in these kind of markets when you're going to see it next, because everything here is unique with this tariff story. There's your lesson of the day, and good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Neil, for that one. Good as always and extremely informative. So, guys, yeah, the Playmaker poll is up. Let's see which way we're going to vote today. I don't know. Which way should I vote here, guys? I think it's a coin flip. If anybody, my good buddy Yanni said, put a good thing in from the No Country from Old Men. He's like, pick a side. So here we go. Heads or tails? Let's see what we got here. All right, heads. We got a heads. Heads, that means we go long there, guys. So it's flip a coin type day. So there it is. We just typed it in, and that was it. So yeah, if those who remember No Country from Old Men, that's a great, fantastic movie. One of the better ones, for sure. Good stuff there. All right, so Tesla not really working out for us, but the short on just some basic trend line analysis is working out for the short on the TQs. So you can see that I was drawing this from a 5-minute standpoint. You can see that we were constructing those lower highs and now forming this kind of a descending wedge type price action, whatever you would like to call it, and now heading into the lows, which is not a good sign. I'm going to have to hop out of this Tesla trade as we go to break some key support levels there, Sharif. So we'll hop out on that one. No biggie, no biggie smalls there, but we'll continue to monitor and work on this TQQ trade that's working really well because we just did some basic TA and we said, hey, we're running into resistance. Let's replay the rejection of it. And then that's what we get. We get the confirmation that we constructed a lower high and then now heading towards the low of day and these key support levels. Are we going to crack it? Maybe, possibly. It looks like some of the big names want to. Alibaba Group continuing to move to the downside streak, now at the pre-market lows of 103.22. Amazon heading into that exact same support level with the likes of Google, Apple, and Tesla as well too. So I like this TQ short. That is going to be the ultimate target, 38.5 there, my guy.
All right, guys. Shout out to Jay Lee. I see what you're saying, sir. You don't believe in that reciprocity. I get it. I don't know. I think we're still like in the early stages. Let's see if he ends up holding out on countries that remove tariffs, or he's actually just looking for that dump, like you said, Jay. So good call there. Now, I'm quite happy with how I traded OKLO over here because of this technical level. We're all done this trade. Got short at 40s, took out the last remaining position at 80. So nice little trade there on OKLO. It is still putting in lower highs, though. So, you know, we could still get a flat top breakout. So just because you traded it south doesn't mean it's going to be south from here on in. There is an area support at 2140 and again at 21. Be on the lookout for higher lows. If you see that higher low set up come in on OKLO, there's a good chance that when it pops back up, if it pops back up, it does a flat top break. That's just my humble submission to you guys, so we'll keep an eye on OKLO, well off the highs though. It does feel like some of these Mag 7 names here are looking for flat bottom, a flat bottom break. And let me make the case. Apple seems to have this support level at around 175 and change. It's at 176 and 2/3 right now. So Apple's looking very flat bottom breakish. And the reason I say that is you have an obvious area high with another lower high and yet another lower high. All the while you are maintaining that same area low, whether it's 176 or the mid 175s, it doesn't really matter because I think if it breaks, it's going to break substantially. And to assist that kind of break, look at the futures. This is the NQ June contract. It almost looks exactly like Apple, except it's above the volume weighted average price. Area high, another area high, and yet another lower area high. All the while, you're still finding support at 17,250, or generally the volume weighted average price. So this market does feel like it is setting up for a big drop with these lower highs and that flat bottom. We'll have to wait and see if it does or doesn't. I mean, we have lots of time still left in the trading day, more than about almost a little bit less than 4 hours, I would say, about 3 hours and 50 minutes. So we could get that flat bottom break awfully soon. Sorry, I just wanted to throw out the name of this contract over here, but I'll do that in a little bit. So yeah, the market does feel like it may be on the look for a bit of a bigger drop. At least that's kind of how I feel at the moment. Let's look at the small cappers. Let's see which ones are holding up and which ones are giving up the ghost. MKDW, we did well on this one, but it broke below 90 pennies, and that was the end of the trade for me. And now it's going to really be the end of the trade unless it can get above that 85 penny area. Why that 85 penny area, you're probably asking? Well, if you watch the show before, you know I won't trade these long south of VWAP, and that's exactly where this one is right now. Volume weighted average price around 85 pennies. It's trading at about 78, so it's going to have to reclaim that level on a closing basis. So that's what I'm looking at from MKDW's perspective. ARTV, we were yelling up a storm about this one while it was breaking up, and now it's broken right back down. So a bit of a V-shaped retracement to the downside here on ARTV. Still up about 29%, but way, way south of that $4.05 area where the volume weighted average price is barely holding on to 3. Needless to say, I won't be taking that one long. The one that does seem to be holding up, even though it's in, multiple down halts right now, just from a technical sense, is JNVR. Now, JNVR is spready and expensive and very halt prone, okay? Let's look at the 1 minute. You can see the halt's a lot easier on the 1 minute. When you see these like areas of no trading with these dashes, like these kind of underscores, that's a halt. Each one of those little dashes, if you can see it, or underscores, is 1 minute on the 1 minute chart, that is. So this one's had a whole lot of trouble staying open, and as a result of that, has had a bit of trouble doing volume. It's only about 15.3 million shares trade on the day, despite the fact that it's up 500%. So 2 down halts right now. From the technical sense, despite the fact that it's 2 down halts, it's below the 10 exponential, so that's my first warning there, that be careful. But it's well above VWAP. $15 is VWAP. This thing's at 24 bucks, halted at 24 bucks. It's also shown you its inclination to respect the volume weighted average price during the open market, not even the pre-market. Look at that double bottom at 1035 and 1040. It held up there. So we are definitely below the 10. Here's what I'm looking at. Initially, I'm looking at that $21 area. Why? Because that's the area high right there at 10 a.m. We rejected $21, dropped down at 12, and then we broke it. So that's my first area. I'm looking at 21. And then I'm going to be looking at around 18. 19 to 18. There's more support here at 19 than there is at 18, but the halt level is at 1775, 18. So if it opens down, we'll see where this one opens, whether it pops back up or not. I'm looking at those key levels for a possible dip buy. Adara, tell us what's going on.
Just be aware here, we have some comments coming through from Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. He said that long-term he sees what's happening here with the market as a buying opportunity rather than a selling opportunity. But he does still think there is a potential for another 20% market decline. So some mixed comments coming here from Larry Fink on the market. We know Jamie Dimon spoke earlier about the impacts of the market here with these tariffs. So keep an eye here on the market. Larry Fink making some talks. Back to you.
Your friend Jeremy this morning
Jeremy,
with
Jeremy.
letter to shareholders.
Yeah, what did he say?
Oh, he backtracked. In January, he was a big fan of the tariffs. Oh, national security this, national security that.
Yeah, that's how
now he's crapping all over the tariffs. Well, I'm assuming because they're a little bit different than what he anticipated they would be. Quantum, size, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think a lot of the big tech names are definitely heading towards that path there, Sharif. They didn't think that they would see 30% haircuts in some of their stock prices. So once you see that, then everybody starts to hit the panic button, as you can see. But one thing to note that is positive is that once all this panic is done, then we're going to start to see the volatility start to decay. And then usually there's not as many sellers, right? So all those sellers have been flushed out. They got rid of everything. And that can lead to some potential short-term rallies. So we just got to be patient and wait for those. You can see that the price is starting to compress here in the Qs and in the SPY. We're not breaking through resistance and we're not breaking through support levels. So that's positive. Be patient, sit on those hands. And then when that volume decides that it does want to step in, you can take that trade based to whichever direction it goes in, and you'll see it step in most definitely on those lower time frames first there, guys. So yeah, here we go. I didn't take any off on the TQs. We're still holding on to this one. We're short, and this is like crazy to me, Sharif, because I'm in at 40s essentially, and then we get a low of 38.83. So that's like $1 something in the TQs, and I'm like, oh, whoa, okay, like we're talking a lot of volatility because you don't usually get that type of move. I mean, it can go multiple points, that is, but just how quick and just like everything along the lines is like, okay, everything is expanded, so be patient, size down. You can see the volume start to pick up here on the daily. 260 million shares traded on the TQs. I don't remember the last time I've seen this. Is this going to be a potential breath in the overall market as we head to the lows? Tesla tapping into the support levels again. Is that going to be? I don't have the flat bottom break there, Sharif. Is that going to be a flat bottom break here on Tesla? We're bouncing off it. The thing to note is that the momentum isn't there. That's why we're getting multiple tests of the level, and then we're not cracking through. So let's take a look actually at Tesla's options chain and Amazon's options chain to say, hey, why aren't we breaking through? And we will get a lot from the open interest. Oh, but that's not what I want. So let's see what we got going on. Cooking up for this week's expiration cycle. That will be April 11th there, guys. So what are we trading at right now on Tesla? Okay, so the at the money, I see that. So yeah, I mean, from a put standpoint, wow, this is crazy. There is no open interest on the call side. 225, 4,000 open contracts, but that 220 is the highest level of OI. We're not there yet, so by the end of the week, that may be in the works, and there's absolutely, it's like a barren wasteland here on the call side in the open interest column there, Sharif. But let's see what Adair is up to.
Brought to you by Foremost. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy, leveraging one of the biggest mega trends on the planet, nuclear energy. Partnered with Denison Mines with property strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear, and Foremost is your entry. On the NASDAQ under FMST and on the CSE as FAT, or you can go to foremostcleanenergy.com for more details. Back to the Bash Brothers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, how do you know about that? Whoa, okay, that's slightly eerie, but all right, I appreciate the lunch, Big Tammy from Bama. If she wants to take you out for lunch, it seems there, Sharif, at the place next door. You got to read the comment, but I mean, yeah, guys. So there we go. We took another leg lower here on the Qs. Now constructing a higher low, so that price action is coming into full effect. Which way are we going to break? I'm going to wait for the lower time frames to establish and tell me, hey, we're going to go this direction or the other direction. Be prepared that there will be fake outs and then the genuine move to the top side or to the downside. We took a little bit off. We only have one more out here on the TQs, but this is really working out pretty good for us as we run into these resistances.
All right, Joseph, we're in NWTG. Where are we long? 24s? It's at 24s right now. So we haven't taken anything out. This is a good technical area to get in at. This is where we kind of had a lot of trouble clearing initially. We come back into those levels. The question is, do we hold? Right? So we're up 71%. This is not the first move for this one. And this one is already shown you to have wide ranges per candle. That means per 5-minute candle, what's the average range? Is it 5 pennies, 10 pennies, 15? You need to account for that because that should influence your stop placement, your profit-taking placement, as well as your size. If there's a wide range per candle, you can't have tight stops with it. Otherwise, you'll just get stopped out. So we're going to give this one to about 308. I'm long at 24, so I'm risking 14 pennies. Let's see if we can pop up above 30s. I've got the first peak weather there at 29s, and then I'm layering into the 30s and then into the 40s. So here we go, popping up into 28s. We're not getting the cross yet, so we're not getting any prints. There we go. We just got one little print there. Not much to talk about. JNVR is parabolic, Naveen. I've got it over here. We're keeping an eye on, where is it? There it was. Show yourself. There it is. JNVR, it's still off the highs, 32.59, but a good recovery and a good hold above 25 bucks. I got to tell you, Naveen, this is not where I earmarked it to pull into. I was looking more for 20, 18, something like that on JNVR. Here we go back to NWTG. Sorry, I got a zig and zag between these, but we're trading all of them. Boom! boom to the high side. We take out some prints there, but it's zigging and zagging, so it's not clearing it with any vigor. Let's put another beak wetter at 35s, and then we'll set up into the high 30s. If we can get another spike there on NWTG, that would just be aces. Now, I got to tell you, it's a bit of a bamboozler here. So it's already coming right back down. We get the prints, and then it might stop me out if we print anything below 10s. I'm waiting at 8s. So if it does break below that $3.10 area, we'll get stopped out. Now, here are the details on it. 4.78 million market cap. It's done decent amount of shares on the day. 45.6 million shares with a float of 5.947 million. So essentially, you know, about 6 million shares there. I don't have the... what's it called? The short float, sadly, on it. Trade Idea is not giving me much of a short float, but Trade Idea is giving me a very small float here, telling me 51,000, so I am unlikely to believe that data point. Keeping an eye on this name over here as it zigs and zags at my entry, but it does look like it might be coming down a little bit now. I think I've given it the requisite amount of room down to 310, so I'm going to leave my stop where it is. I won't be dollar cost averaging. It's going to either take out the remaining move to the high side, or we're going to get stopped out on this one. So keeping an eye on that. I'm also trying to keep an eye on the market at large over here, because I was very biased for a flat bottom break on the futures, and by extension of that, Apple and many of these other Mag 7 names. I think Apple looks the most bearish of the Mag 7 names, simply because it is far below the volume weighted average price, whereas some of the others are either above or at VWAP, or, you know, just marginally lower. Apple is decidedly lower than the volume weighted average price, and it keeps finding support at this 175 and change, 176. So how long will that be the case? These lower highs do not help the long side here for Apple. So definitely looking for a flat bottom break on the futures, and by extension of that Apple. So we'll wait to see if that comes in or not. You know, anything can change. Donald can come out midday and, you know, throw a curveball to these markets and shoot it right back up. So I don't want to kind of say, oh, I know exactly how this is all going to unfold. No, I have no idea. I have no idea, Katina, man.
Oh, man. Oh,
I do not, baby. And I was, look, last week I was trying to take a mental health break, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to shut down a little bit. I didn't actually look at my portfolio once. That's the truth,
That's
okay?
it. Okay, bang.
I did know what was happening, because I kept getting alerts.
Yeah.
Stop loss triggered. Stop loss triggered. Stop. I'm like, okay, well, I got a general idea. I got a general idea of what's happening. In addition, I was telling Andre this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have this on here. So I got the NQ, the Dow, and the ES.
Yeah.
Now, I got these on here as well, but I didn't look at any of these ones. No, I would skip over them purposely.
You shut off.
I tried.
You tried.
I legitimately tried, yeah.
So you didn't pull up one chart through?
Promise you I didn't log into IBKR once last week, bro. I did yesterday because you got to prep for the next day. Otherwise, you get fired,
But
right?
then you had a solid days. How did you feel when you just like weren't looking at the market for those 4 days?
It was okay, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I was building up a storm, baby.
Oh, you were building up.
Oh, was I ever?
Did you get that thing that year?
I did get it, and videos are coming soon, my man.
Oh man, so as you're building things up, they actually they're reconstructing the gym in my condo, so they have a temporary one, yeah.
Sick.
But it's not very good, right? It's just like ellipticals, a couple weights. So what did I do? I put in some 10Ks over the weekend.
Okay.
Run to the workout gym, bang, 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 and then that's what we do.
Just
so a couple.
Casually ran a 10K.
Yeah. I got the stats on my phone.
I believe that you ran it.
And my buddy is like, Joe, you only burn 600 calories. I'm like, yeah, but my heart rate, and I'm like, I don't know why. He's like, dude, I burned double that in half the amount of time.
Body weight.
Yeah,
body weight
right?
makes a big difference.
And like my heart rate obviously doesn't get as elevated because of the consistent cardio with hockey, etc., whatever it may be. So yeah, that's what.
There's my boy.
So that's what we were doing. We were banging up the 10Ks, getting ready.
Love it.
Dude, so one thing I was thinking to do, I've never really ran over, like the most I ran was just over 12.5K, but I want to go from my current place to where I used to live at Humber Shores, which would be about like a 19 to 20K round trip. Right, and I'm curious if I can do it.
That's like a half marathon.
Yeah, that's like half. I'm curious if I can do that. So,
Why do you got to do that all at once, though? Why can't it be 12 and a half, 15, 17 and a half. Like, why does it have to be 10 then 20?
Oh, what do you mean 10?
Like, build your stamina
build it
up into that half marathon.
No, you're right. Like, I could go halfway there. Like, I could go 3/4 of the way, come back, and et cetera, and then slowly build myself. That's absolutely it. But I'm just like, man, I get into this mode when I'm running, dude. I set like a scenario in my head, and if I don't get there, then I'm gonna fail in the scenario, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I like the run. I'm gonna try it. The chances of me succeeding the first time, like you said, are probably gonna be low.
So
I'm gonna go until my knees give out.
Good.
To see how I feel, because I still have that lingering knee issue. But I'm looking forward to trying to push that 20K because I've never done that far.
That's
before.
really good, bro.
Yeah.
The most I've ever run was like 12 and a half K. I've never run more than that, so I don't even know if I can do it or if I can't. Or,
yeah, but until you try, you never know. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And in the summer heat, I thrive in the summer heat. Too.
Yeah.
That's right. Dude, I thrive. I love it. All sweaty, you're so exhausted, and you're just like keep going until the body fails.
Lakeshore is good though, because you get that breeze, you get that lake breeze. It kind of calms down the midsummer humidity.
That was a big thing too when I ran it yesterday. Is that the cool air? It was a little bit cooler out, so it just keeps your body nice and cool and stuff. So yeah, that was a good time.
So I got videos coming.
Ooh,
yeah, because this is a setup.
Yeah.
It's a setup.
In the condo?
Yeah, in the second bedroom, baby. It's a setup.
So bro, how many
morning
gym memberships
sessions?
do you have? You got Good Life. This guy has
I got the
gym.
condo gym for the machines and the cables, which I don't have in my actual condo.
Okay.
But bench press, dumbbells, calisthenics, covered.
Everything,
baby.
So there you go. Your condo's just gonna reek like the gym.
It already stinks. Stop playing.
That's crazy.
It smells like potpourri. No, I'm playing. It does not smell like potpourri. Guys, we're doing okay over here on your friend NWTG. We can laugh and we can trade at the same time. So we're long $0.25. We took the majority of the position out at 45s. It's right back into that third of a dollar. It's up 76%. I perceive this to be kind of bull flagging a little bit over here with a nice move up, let's say starting around noon hour, that 12 o'clock pop. It takes it above that $3 area, but we are kind of locked in a bit of a range. The range, I perceive the range to be about 320 to 315 to the low side, with obviously that 3 mid-40s to the high side, seeing as the high of the day currently is 348. Anything below 310, as I mentioned previously, stops me out. I've had a good trade on this one with some nice pops into the high side, but we're still holding several outs. So a stop out here could do a little bit of damage. Let's call a spade, and it is coming right back down into 3 mid-15s. Let's see if it pops back up. It's had a propensity to do this where it does drop into the teens, and there does seem to be a buyer of note stepping in the mid-teens. We'll have to see if they keep stepping up or what the situation is. My man Music dropping cash in the chat, and he's dropping Canadian dollars. Canadiana. Thank you very much for the 10 Canadian. Help me lose weight. All right, where do I start? So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tag me. Tell me what your history is. If you don't feel comfortable, obviously disclosing everything, I completely get that. But there's really not much I can do without knowing more information. But it's just like trading, man. You gotta get up every day, have the discipline to do steps A, B, and C. And if you can follow through, I don't know what the scientists or the psychologists say, 3 weeks or whatever, to create a habit. I personally, my habits will start, I'm just being quite honest with you, I can pick up a habit without forcing myself to do it after about 2 weeks. And then it just comes naturally. I just have like an inclination to want to do it. Everybody is a little bit different. So I would just say start really light, like I was trying to suggest to Joe, with respect to how to reach 20K, do 12 and a half, then 15. But everybody's a little bit different. Obviously, you may be motivated a little bit differently than I. And I would love to help you. Just got to let me know a little bit over there. My man Music, never mind. I will buy more Tesla. That will help. There we go. My man's dropping cash in the chat on a day where cash is a little bit, it's a little bit rare around here. A lot of long-term accounts got shellacked, Joseph. All right, let's talk about some of these overall market movers. We're talking about the MAX 7 and the futures at large. Apple finding yet another area of support at around 176. That has been a rinse and repeat level for the longs, but every single time it dips into 176 and makes another high. That high is a little bit lower than the previous area high. That's why I'm more biased towards a move down on these markets for a flat bottom break, but anything can change. We're seeing kind of the same thing on all the Mag 7 names. Meta, lower highs. Microsoft, lower highs. Google, lower highs. The future, Nvidia, Tesla, Amazon, they're all lower highs, Joseph, with a general area of the same support area. For example, 225 on Tesla, 225-ish on Tesla. What happened? Who is this?
Nonsense.
You calling ICE? All right, call ICE, bro. Call ICE, bro. I live in Canada, bro. Who is this moron, bro?
That is crazy.
Poor soul's too stupid to know he's stupid. Those are the most dangerous. You're a double threat. You're stupid, but you're also too stupid to know you're stupid. I love those.
That's crazy, bro.
What are you doing over there, Joseph?
Yeah, that's funny stuff. So, yo, Sharif, I like that you're mentioning some of these higher lows. So I was looking at the options chain to be like, hey, why isn't Amazon breaking through? Why are we bouncing at these specific levels? Well, guys, look at the open interest on Amazon at 170. Look at the open interest at Google at 145. Look at the open interest on Apple at 175. We have some potential levels of support, and now we're getting those bounces here in the market. The reason why we're not going through those is because there isn't enough participants or someone willing to grab and absorb those contracts in order for us to proceed lower. So now we are getting those bounces at those levels. Now, can we liquidity grab enough shares in order for us to continue to move to the sell side? Absolutely. But that is exactly what I'm looking for at key levels of support. I pull up the options chain, 175 Apple, high levels of OI, 170 Amazon, high levels of OI, and the same thing with Google. So keep those in mind. Always take a look at your options chain to see why you are coming in at those levels and not breaking through with momentum. It's essentially, so for all those individuals in the chat who use Bookmap is great, but you have the options chain. It's essentially whatever your broker is, you can utilize it in the same manner, and it gives you those individual strikes. So you can look up and down the order book and say, hey, this is outstanding. Why do we have this much there? And how is price reacting around those key specific levels? Now, the Qs starting to break higher. Tesla's starting to break higher, and we got to take into account what Sharif has said. We are continuously constructing those lower highs. Are we going to break through? I don't think so, especially on this lower volume. Check out the volume by time profile. You can see that is not breakout type volume. We want to see those participants really step in order for us to punch through some of these resistance zones. Other than that, until that displays itself, we are going to probably chop within this range. We have high levels of open interest, 170 in Amazon, and now we're running into some support. So what do? You look on your call side to say, hey, why are we running into resistance and not having the ability to break through? Once that volume steps in, the market will pick a little bit more of a direction here. Ooh, is that what you're in right now? Yeah, right. Oh, just like that? How? Twice. How do you hit it twice?
Imagine going to the club and like dancing like this. I just right away, bro. Like, yeah.
It's a move, no? I like it. I'm starting to like
Joseph, I don't even know the last time I've been to the club.
Yeah?
Paris, Texas. Is that a club?
Yeah. In the
you
city,
guys, is it in a bar?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that.
That was the last club I went to.
Oh, wow.
I like my country music.
You like country music?
I love country music,
Actually?
bro. Yeah, legit. I like country music. Call ICE now.
I like
country music.
Get this guy out of here.
Katina Man's calling it. Put down the phone, Katina Man, bro.
Yeah. We got this guy, Sharif, here.
Immigration Canada, baby.
We got this guy.
He's calling Vanilla Ice.
Whoa.
Take him to the hole, Jerome. Take him to the hole.
Oh.
All right.
Ow.
We're having a good time over here, bro. I know, Rivian. I'm bold, bro. I know. I'm aging every day. It's kind of unique to me. I'm going one way. No, seriously, guys, we got long on JNVR at 30.86. Took it out at 33. It is now halted to the upside, Katina Man, at 32.75. So we're almost at 33, not quite into that 33 area. JNVR, Joseph, is the gift that keeps on giving. We were talking about this one. Could be the first quadruple digit small cap gapper for 2025. I could be incorrect on that, but I trade these small caps almost every day, and I don't remember seeing a quadruple-digit winner above $1, maybe south of $1 that I didn't know of. But anyway, good trade so far on this one. We'll see what the situation is. I can see Sharif line dancing. Shout out to Brian. I actually haven't done that since like high school, by the way.
There's a couple good. There's a song called like Copperhead Road. I like that.
Okay.
Song there.
You line dance?
Road. No, I've never line danced. But if I was gonna line dance to any
Katina,
song,
man, you ever line dance?
Copperhead.
He's just looking at me with like this bewildered. He's like, no, I
don't trust this guy whatsoever with those prints. Because Sharif, you weren't here.
What happened?
They're printing pictures of me because I have to look at the screen a little bit closer. So now Katina. Oh, okay, all right.
Katina is doing his taxes. Can he get a break?
Smiling. He's like smiling at me. I'm like, man, I don't know if I trust that.
Poor guy, man.
Yeah, well, they were terrorizing me last week. What happened to that picture? Who threw it out?
What picture?
I don't know, the one that Ramin made of me because they're making fun of me because I have to look at. You didn't even see that one? Maybe they can pull it up there. Again,
but your eyesight's pretty good.
It's not 2020, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Those are blue light?
Yeah, I have a little bit of astigmatism.
Yeah, okay.
I got
no big deal. I got a sticky.
I got a sticky going on. So there we go. Is there anything you want to cover? Because I think we might break out here shortly there, Sharif, because price is really starting to compress, and it's just a matter of time until which way we decide to go there, brother.
All right, guys, we're currently halted right now on JNVR to the upside. We are halted at 32.75. That is the official high day. It's up 718%. And I'll take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the name since we didn't really get a chance to talk about it. It's a market cap now with this latest 718% bump of $446.75 million market cap. It's traded about almost 17 million shares, 16.8 on the day. A lot of that has to do with the fact that it's been halted a lot. So if it had been trading during all these periods where it was halted, it probably would have done a lot more volume. So for the percentage up on the day, volume 16.8 million shares is kind of light, just so you have some context. The float, about 4.2 million share float, which is good if you're looking for, a potential squeeze name. The smaller the float, the more illiquid it becomes, and the more demand there is on the shares if it starts squeezing. So shorter flow or smaller float names tend to be a bit more parabolic if they start getting going. So JNVR, let's find out what the short float is. It's kind of a negligible short float. I don't want to say negligible, but I did. It's about 1.5%, so not really much to talk about there. NWTG, the one that we were trading earlier, it lost that 3.5, but it is at a very important level right now. It just got to the volume weighted average price at 290. I'm talking about NWTG now. And that volume weighted average price is also an interesting area of previous technical resistance. Have a look at this area over here at around 8. We rejected that 290 area. We also kept rejecting 290 from the south side between, I want to say 10:20 until when we cleared it at 12 o'clock. So that 290 area is an area of technical support, intraday technical support. It also happens to be, coincidentally, the volume weighted average price, which a lot of algos use, and traders, to be fair. So we're gonna weasel in here, Joseph, and we're gonna take small share size because we don't give back anything, and then we're gonna put the stop right at 277, and we'll give this one a little bit of room. We're gonna give this one the old community college try. And we'll see what we get. And we will not get upset, as my man Neil likes to say. So that's what I'm doing right now. NWTG long for a VWAP pullback and bounce.
Nice. Okay, guys, yeah, so I'm just waiting here. You can see that we put on this nice trade on the TQs, the short, and then we just got stopped out of like 10% of our position, so not much remaining there. And I'm just waiting for this price compression pattern to give me a direction. So I've seen someone in the chat, time to take some trades. But yeah, we're waiting patiently for those right trades to display themselves. We don't want to rush into anything right here, guys. So you can see that we're really starting to compress in price. That can be a positive signal. I'm thinking about taking it to the long side, but I don't want to necessarily be jumping the gun too early. But any shoot apparently, Sharif. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look to get involved here on the TQs. If we break 39s, that's going to put us right at the support level here. Then I'll get out. We could see possible whipsaw moves, but I do like it for the potential breakup as Google's climbing higher, Apple continuing to crawl higher, and some of the big names are starting to approach those resistance zones. Let's see if we can get that this wedge here to break. So shoot. And when it happens, sometimes you get fouled. You got to go to yeah, exactly. But you go to the line, and going to the line is equal amount of points as if you were to make that shot. So there we go. We're in this. We're going to get out at 39s. We're going to start really, really small. I do like the fact, well, I don't like the fact, actually, that we are rejecting it quite aggressively right now and consistently forming those lower highs. But again, price is really compressing. It's only a matter of time until it breaks, and we're going to be able to identify that on the lower time frames here, Sharif.
I'm just trying to find out. No, I'm trying to find out from Joe because he's always hitting this Powell thing. So I was wondering, what do you shoot from the line? Like if we had
like percentage-wise?
Yeah, like let's just say we did. I think we should do. I almost think we should do Trader TV Live Olympics kind of thing where we do free throws. We do.
I'm in it all.
We could what?
I'm in it all, brother.
Where we could do a shot like in hockey, we pick corners, like we put up those targets. We could do. Don't worry, Neil. No. We'll do something for everybody. No, we'll do something for everybody. We'll do cricket for Neil then. Yeah, we'll do, whatever. Sharif, I don't know.
I can do football and soccer.
Football, right. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah,
so maybe maybe we could do like a target accuracy with football.
With that. We can do one-handed catches.
Dude, no,
what do we think? What are we thinking? What are we thinking?
You want to probably know the honest truth?
All right, I'm gone.
I think I'd be good at like if I shot 50% from the line, I think I'd be good right now because I haven't shot a ball in a while.
I think 50% is respectful.
I don't even think I'd hit the rim.
No?
I hate basketball.
All right, I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. I was just doing taxes.
No way, dude.
I don't like basketball at all.
Yeah?
No.
Damn.
I was never good at it, nor had any desire to play basketball whatsoever.
So you don't really have the form or anything along those lines?
No grace.
I feel like you'd be dangerous down low, though, in the post.
I don't know. I can jump.
You can jump?
I can jump.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we got the leg muscle.
That's the thing, right?
Can you dunk?
I can't dunk. That's the funny thing is, but I can get my hand over the rim by like a substantial amount, like 3 or 4 inches. Yeah.
Right. So the free throw percentage isn't necessarily there.
Oh, bro, I'm really bad. Like I'm just gonna tell you the truth. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat this one.
Well, I don't know why Katina Man said like we could do like the corner picking in hockey because that's just like that's a gold medal for me right out of the jump. Dude, I'm telling you right now, it is a gold medal for me. What do you think, dude?
Katina Man, are you good at basketball? No, like honestly. Hockey. Okay, my mistake. Yeah, okay.
You think that you're going to be able to compete with me? And I'm telling you right now, who would win? Me.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
That's fine. Why did you have to bring it to Sharif? We're talking about picking corners here. I'm here for this guy. All right, it's the Trader TV Olympics coming to you soon.
Are you doing dips?
Still, bro, every day, man.
You're smashing dips?
Of course, man.
Are you smashing weighted dips?
I'm not. I don't have my my weighted belt anymore.
Yeah, just throw it in on the ankles. An easy dumbbell right on the ankles.
I can put it on the.
That's what I do. Yeah, the weighted belt's obviously the way to go.
The easier, which way to
Be
go?
careful though if you're keeping it in the front. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you don't want to swing it that way.
You got to loop it so it leaves a gap, like a big gap.
Yeah, I got stories, some interesting stories about the gym. This one didn't happen to me.
Ooh.
Friend was doing side lateral raises on for shoulders, and he swung down. Where does it stop, Joseph?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't even want to go.
It got caught, Joseph.
No, was he out for a while?
Oh, he was out for a while.
Insane.
Yeah. He also let out a nice
I dropped
scream there.
I dropped a plate on my toe, a steel plate on my big toe one time, a 45, and I couldn't sleep the whole night because it was just throbbing. Like,
That's brutal.
Yeah,
that's
I was at the
brutal. When the Chilean Nightmare was 6 years old, obviously, you know, he's a light individual at that age. 25-pound weight on his foot. That's like, I don't know, 25% of your body weight?
Yeah.
More? Lifted it, then immediately dropped it. Damn. Yeah, that's CrossFit days. CrossFit 315 clean attempt. I didn't clear it, okay? Just to be very clear. I tried to, I got it almost up. I was about to flip it, and then it fell down, and then my foot was on its side like this, and the weight, 315. Boom!
Did it break it?
No, it didn't, but I went to the hospital. I was sure it was broken.
Oh, yeah, I bet that would break it. But anyways, guys, talking about sports, let's get into Worksport, introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ. Worksport, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport there, guys. Worksport.
Dinkelberg, you wear steel-toe shoes at the gym, bro? Those are supposed to be worn on a factory floor. What's going on over there, Dinkelberg?
I used to wear, I'm a, like, on my lazy days, I'm a flip-flop guy. I'll go in there and just...
They don't even allow that at my gym.
Really?
You get kicked out immediately. They'll tell you, you got to put on shoes, you got to leave. Yeah, because it's liability.
Liability, yeah. I would sometimes in the winter time when it's just like I just got to get there and get it done.
Fair.
Flip-flop.
Flip-flop, I like that. Okay. All right, guys, I'm sorry I'm in no positions at the moment. I'm keeping my eye on NWTG. As quickly as I got into this one, I got stopped out because it did drop an aggressive bottoming tail candle through the volume-weighted average price. It did find support at 270, not a level that I had earmarked. So we did lose on that one, but we're still profitable on it. I'm looking for a move back above and a hold above VWAP. It's not just enough to kind of wick above there. It's got to show me a couple of closing prints above the volume-weighted average price, and then we can get involved with NWTG. But this one is still in vogue. I'm talking about JNVR, still putting in higher highs and higher lows. We had a nice trade on this one, and it looks like it might be destined to take out $35 because currently the low of this 5-minute candle is well above the previous area low. So the previous area low of the prior 5-minute candle is at 29.5. This one is at 30 1/3. So it's already trading at $32. Good look right now on JNVR. This one's really strong. It's not giving up the ghost. It's 700% in the clear. It's a couple of bucks off the high of the day, but when you compare that to where it closed out on Friday, which was $4, we are a lot closer to the high than we are to the low. Let's keep an eye out on this one. Let me know what you guys are trading in the chat. If there are any new small cap gappers finding their way onto the scene, I know you guys are fantastic with that, and you guys call them out. Shout out to Bovin, shout out to Mean Gene. There's a couple of new guys as well that are tagging me in the chat with some small cap gappers. And to you guys, I could not be more thankful. I do appreciate you guys, and I promise I will learn your name in due time. But you got to hang out, right? You got to hang out with us every day. We do these small caps every day from 11 to 2, and we're not going to stop. Here we go. David, my man David there in the chat with $10. Another 10 if I can see Sharif and Joe arm wrestle on the desk while discussing the cues calmly. That's a whole lot of restriction.
That is crazy.
It's like Joseph, bro. I mean, the way I'm feeling about this right now.
We're going to break it down.
Can you guys leave us alone? You know what I was thinking about the other day?
What's that?
The chat is going to goad us into being in the best shape of our life.
Yeah.
Because we're going to keep competing.
Competing is like, all right, I got to get in this. I got to get in that.
Right? So it's like, I got to do these 5 a.m. sessions, and then Joseph starts getting up at 4:30. Then I start doing triples, and then he starts doing quadruples.
And then I start doing the Ashton Hall out here, dipping my face in the Saratoga water. Dude, I've never heard of this.
Piers Morgan, copy him?
No.
A hilarious video of Piers dipping his face in the water.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like, the guy obviously did something right. If you're getting made fun of on a mass platform, like then that's good for you. That's only benefiting for him.
Oh, bro,
more haters,
he's
the better.
Killing it. He's got his G-Wagon.
Yeah,
he's got his life
now,
set.
right?
He's got multiple deals apparently from.
Dude, I'd never heard of Saratoga water. I walked into the Farm Boy last weekend, and now they just have a whole display of Saratoga water.
Dude, we were talking about this.
And it's only $1.50.
Did you hear about how much money he added to the market cap of that company?
Yeah, you said like
$7 billion. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to verify this. So we got chat. Where's chat? Show yourself, chat. I'm not talking about the actual chat. I'm talking about ChatGPT. I've lost it. There we go. So What's it called? Saratoga water.
Yeah.
How much in market cap did, what's his name? Ashton Hall. Did Ashton Hall add to the market cap of Saratoga water? Chat, don't give me problems. Give me the details. We're on a live show right now. So come on. Chat's being slow, Joseph. Yeah, we got to use Copilot. We got to use Copilot from now on, bro.
Pull it up, man.
I know. I search in the web and it's taking its sweet ass time, so we're gonna let that one go, guys. JNVR, while we will wait for that one to respond, JNVR is halted to the downside now, so couldn't take out that high a day at around 35 and a quarter. We are halted down at 28 and a third right now. A big move down for JNVR. Just lost about 150% off the top. Here we go. So, fitness influencer Ashton Hall's viral TikTok video showcasing his morning routine with Saratoga spring water significantly impacted Primo Brands Corp's market capitalization. Following the video's release, Primo Brands stock experienced a surge of 16% pre-market trading. This increase translates to approximately $1.9 billion. My bad. Boost of the company's market cap. Additionally, the video generated around $1.8 million in earned media value for Saratoga water. So I was wrong about that $7 billion or $2 billion. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, a guy goes on social media, stuffs his face in water with ice, and you get $2 billion in your market cap.
You think they gave him any shares?
That's a great question.
Right?
I wonder if they gave him anything. He's not obligated to disclose it.
Most definitely, if I were him, if they don't give him anything, he says, I'm taking everything down in regards to...
Did he say that?
No, that's what I would say, and then I'll use like Canadian Springs water and see how people think about that.
No, but I've been seeing this guy on Instagram for years. I used to follow him back in the day.
Because he was like consistently running behind, like he would be running behind cars and stuff like that.
He does a lot of hit stuff.
He did a stint in the NFL too, I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think so.
Does he actually?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, way back in the day, I'm pretty sure he was like a practice squad guy in the NFL. But yeah, guys, anyways, back to these markets. Yeah, I mean, Blakely, if I were to work on my free throws, I could definitely get that up to 70-80% for sure. But I don't shoot ball anymore, so I would shoot pucks and stuff. But let's see if we can continue to hold up on this. You can see that I entered this trade and I didn't give it quite to 39. I'll be a little bit more patient. We are constructing higher lows, which is a positive sign. But again, price really starting to compress. It seems to be the narrative. In the morning, that volatility stepped in on that fake news. And now since then, we've just come back into a mean and then trading absolute sideways. So you have to be patient and wait for that volume to step in order to dictate which potential way we're going to go. Unless you're range trading, okay? If you're range trading, then you're going to sell the pops and then you're going to buy the lows. But until otherwise, that's going to be the narrative. We need that volume to step in. What I should have done is just gone with what I was previously doing. You can see that we constructed a lower high, but instead I go to anticipate the breakout. Don't anticipate, participate. That is a bad trade on my behalf. That's okay. We just gave back some of the gains that we made here. So now you can see, Sharif, consistent lower highs until the volume steps into the top side. I'm going to stick with the shorts, and that seems to be the narrative of the day.
All right, sounds good, my man. We're back into NWTG, looking for this one to curl back off. Multiple trades on this one. We are 2 for 3, so we'll find out exactly whether this one ends up breaking us even over here or what the deal is. This has been holding up at the volume weighted average price for a while, so we'll see if it wants to hold up. My stop loss is below 80, so we're risking about 14 pennies. Jeremy Hicks, Rolling Hills. That's how I describe the charts for TQQQ so far. Good luck. Let's have a look at the TQQQs. So essentially, if you don't know what the TQQQs are, they are just the 2 times leveraged of the Qs. So here they are. Yeah, rolling hills. So you see it as rolling hills. I see it a little bit differently. I see these as lower highs with a flat bottom. This is what we call in TA world a descending wedge. So they're characterized by lower highs and the same area bottom. So we'll see if this ends up being a flat bottom break. But I was telling you guys that was my bias a little bit on these markets. Of course, anything can happen with Donald Trump coming in the wild card there. So we'll see exactly what we get. So we're involved in NWTG. Let's see if it holds up at these levels. I've also had multiple trades on OKLO. We had a good short on this one. Where is it at? Now it's right back at VWAP. And so the reason I was taking this area short is because I was telling you guys that I perceive these to be lower highs with VWAP as the area support. And that's exactly what it just did. So a candle of indecision, a doji candle, which means the subsequent candle is, we'll see. It can be a bit higher. I'm going to wait for something above 2165, 2169. So it can be another high above this prior 5-minute candle, which is a doji candle. Right now it's dropping into about 2140. Let's see if OKLO wants to catch a bid and then pop back up off VWAP, which it's been doing basically all day. At key technical levels, that is. Continuing to watch NWTG. We're still about 4 pennies out of the money, give or take, waiting for something to happen on this one. Not really sure exactly what we're going to get there. What's going on with this Atul guy, bro? He's just laughing to himself like a psycho.
I don't know.
It might be time for him to get put on timeout there. I think he might need to take his medication, the poor soul. So we'll keep, and what's that?
You got 86K, so that's a day. You got timed out for a day, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Again, another person
you don't want to be a grown man
they're
getting
stupid.
put on timeout. Just be simple.
You're a grown-ass man, man. Act like a grown-ass man, bro.
Timeout.
Keeping an eye on SMR as well, Joseph. Kind of a sympathy play with OKLO. Yep. Thank you. SMR, this one, we'll see whether it wants to find support at VWAP. 13 1/3 is where VWAP is. But again, I really do feel more bias short just because of the lower highs and the area support that seems to be the same every single time. So I'm talking about these names that are running with the overall market. When we talk about ARTV, NWTG, JNVR, these are kind of outliers. They're small cap gappers. They march to the beat of their own drum. They don't typically follow the market proper, so I don't have the same bias for those ones as I do with the overall market. So we'll keep an eye out on that, and we'll let you know if there's a new small cap gapper that finds its way onto the scene. JNVR halted to the upside yet again. So this one was just a downside halt, as we were mentioning, when it did halt downside, but it is right back up, halted at 30.80. Still kind of lower highs and lower lows. We'll see if this one can catch a bid and take out 35 bucks. So that's my look right now. We'll see what we get there. We just got a print right now on NWTG to the high side. Let's see if it can clear 3. We're waiting next at 305, and then we're going to layer the orders above 310. So this has been kind of a VWAP trade for NWTG. What do you got, my man?
Good look there. Mean Gene, Joseph, do you guys trade the VIX? What options and futures instruments do you like to use? Well, from an intraday standpoint, you can see that we trade the TQs, 3x leveraged ETF here. But other than that, we don't trade options, so we don't trade the VIX or UVXY or anything along those lines. But outside of that, I just go for regular stock. It doesn't matter. See, the thing is with options, and I try to tell people, don't look at them as such a complex vehicle. Just look at them as an additional vehicle to just trading stock that you can manipulate in many ways. Yeah, obviously what comes along the lines with it when we get into the Greeks and et cetera, it may seem so, but the more comfortable you get, that's just how I interpret it. I just want to leverage my capital, and that's why I utilize options via whatever instrument I'm trading, like whatever underlying asset I'm trading, whether it be Hood, Amazon, et cetera. It's just something that I'm comfortable with, and just me using the ability to leverage certain things. Okay, so here we go, guys. Again, we're still, Sharif, we're still knocking on the door
thing, bro. It's the same look.
Yeah, it's the same look here right now. And like the thing is, I have the options chain to the left of me, and I'm curious for all the individuals in the chat. I'm looking at Apple, and for some reason, at those $half strike prices, so at the 77.5, 72, 172.5s, etc., I'm not seeing any open interest, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. So if anybody can understand why and explain to me what's going on with that front, because what I've seen at 175, there's about 14,000 open contracts that has now dwindled to about 12,000. So people are closing positions, but you can see that we're continuously knocking on the door of these support levels and then also constructing those lower highs. So price is really compressing, and it's just a matter of time until it breaks. But which way is that volume going to step into, right? If we can't break through the support levels, then where's the path of least resistance? To me, that's looking like the top side right now, right? Because I'm not seeing anything. It's literally almost a barren wasteland. On the call side for open interest, there is not much. The PCR is extremely heightened. What does that tell us? More traders are buying puts, okay? But then now we have high levels of open interest on the put side. We're running into support. But now if we decide that we want to squeeze, we can really move to the top side like we are right now. And here we go. What I was saying earlier, Sharif, is now coming into play. What a massive, massive pump here in the overall market.
Something's going on.
Look at Apple, exactly.
Yep. Something's going on, baby.
Look what's going on. Everything comes into play. I should have chased this. Now look at the cues. We just drove $2 in a matter of 30 seconds.
What did he do now?
That is absolutely insane.
Adara, what's up?
I'm seeing here is apparently Stellantis is offering to help suppliers pay their tariff costs. We also have Larry Fink saying that business leaders need to stand up to reclaim New York City with regards to what's happening, I guess, going on right now. We have some comments here coming from Carney here as well, Prime Minister of Canada. I mean, the Stellantis comments, I'll just go over those again. That is Tesla. I'll pull up STLA for you guys. Basically, Stellantis saying they're offering to help suppliers pay the tariff costs. Nice push to the upside for that one and the rest of the market. If I see anything specific to this move, I'll let you guys know, but that's Stellantis headline of note here. Back to you.
Adara, before I send it to you, Sharif, that's it. And this is exactly what I was referring to. What is the path of least resistance? You get that news, and where do we go? Where there is the least amount of resistance, and that was to the top side, Sharif.
All right, guys. We'll keep an eye out on these markets. A big move up there, but I don't know how sustained it is. We'll definitely keep an eye out there. Apple going right into VWAP and rejecting. So I was just trying to get long. I don't know how I feel about that. It's popping right back up again. The current trade I'm involved in right now, NWTG, we took out not everything. We took out beak wetters into 7s. Now I'm waiting at 10s, and then I will be removing my order at 14s. I'm going to look for something a bit higher. If I can get that 10 printed, it seems to have reclaimed VWAP here on a closing basis. We'll see if it's just a perfunctory bounce or whether it's more sustained. I'm talking about NWTG, but this was the look on Apple. It did pop up into 180.40. That's VWAP on my chart, on my side charts. It wicks into that and it right back down into 178 and a third. It's trying to put in higher lows in the sense that it's putting lows above that 177 area. That 177 was a local area low, so we'll see if that one continues to. Oh man,
No.
Dang it, I meant to cancel that order at 14s, and I didn't cancel, and it got printed. So NWTG, we're all out of this trade. I'm going to punch in more here because I didn't want to get out of everything. That obviously gives me a crappy cost basis, but whatever. And we'll set up orders on this one for a bigger move up. We'll see if we can get printed here quick as you like here on NWTG. This is breaking out nicely. There is a seller at 17 of note. Let's see if we're able to take them out. We take them out momentarily. 18, their size at 18 on NWTG. It's up about 69%, looking to go 70 over here. A great curl up and great higher lows. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see these area troughs. We call them area lows. A little bit higher on every successive drop. So let's see if this one acts in the same way and gives us a bit of a higher low. We already took out everything with long 292, and then we took out everything into 14s. I wanted to cancel that order. I didn't get around to it, so that's on me. We're back long 14s now. Let's see if we can take out something at 20s, and then I'm waiting in the 19s, and then I'm waiting in the high 20s. So that's my look right now on NWTG. So NWTG. Sorry,
nice,
Joseph.
Nice. Yeah, good look there. I mean, what a pump fake there, guys. And people in the chat were like, yeah, Joe, you're literally talking about it as it happened. Exactly. And that's what I was referring to. At what point is this compression going to break? And sometimes it doesn't need much, right? So just a little spark, and there you go. You get that move to the top side. But now we have given the majority of that back. Going to be a little bit patient. I do believe that we can continue to the top side here on the TQs trade. So we have to wait for that pullback to come in. That volume is really, really dwindling. But one thing to note here, guys, is that we broke through those resistance zones and now came right back into these support levels. So that is not good for the depth of the pullback. I would like to see more of a continuation. I was actually looking to play a 3-bar play right here, Sharif, as we went higher, a nice breath, and then you can take that additional leg higher. But it doesn't look like that's going to come into play just yet. If we get a hammer candle print, that might be a positive signal, and then we'll get in on that front. But 39's holding, 170s are holding on Amazon. Hopefully that wasn't enough liquidity for us to continue lower. But let's see what Adair's up to.
So we had this push to the upside in the market, and then it dropped immediately after the fact. I am still not seeing any news for this. I just wanted to provide an update on that. We had some comments coming through from Prime Minister Carney of Canada, but nothing to really suggest that there would be an upside move. We actually have Carney saying that there's higher probability, quote, significantly higher probability that the U.S. could go into a recession. So nothing to explain that upside push. The Stellantis story, though, of note, we're seeing reports that Stellantis is going to be helping its suppliers handle the cost burden from Trump's new tariffs. Apparently, they're open to covering part of the added cost, as we have some concerns here on the auto industry. So due to some supply chain concerns, Stellantis are reportedly offering to help suppliers that are impacted by, or their suppliers anyway, that are impacted by tariffs. But yet no necessarily news story to explain that push to the upside. Again, what came from Carney would not be positive for the market. He's saying that it's significantly higher chances, it looks like, that the U.S. could go into a recession. Back to you.
Yes,
thank you for that, Dara. Yeah, good look there. Tiff Macklem has a great reputation in Canada. He did tell people during the pandemic to lever up and to increase their mortgages, and then the rates didn't go up after that. I don't want anybody getting the wrong idea that he gave everybody bad financial advice. He didn't do that, guys. Yeah, all right. So we got long 314 on NWTG, took the majority of it out there at 23s, right back into 14s it goes. So it's putting in incrementally higher lows on every successive 5-minute candle. I'm not going to add into this one quite yet, but I'm definitely looking for a bigger pop, possibly into about 33s, with the high of the day obviously being 48s. That would be the line in the sand there. If we can get that 348 break or 350 break, I think that would be a good parabolic move possibly on NWTG. JNVR is one that I've been keeping my eye on. It's been kind of dropping lower lows, lower highs a little bit right now. It's still at the 10 exponential. It's kind of putting in, I guess, higher lows if you're looking more from the wider sense, but more recently it's been putting in lower lows. So we'll see what this one wants to do. It's very dangerous to trade, so make sure you are trading this appropriately, using good risk management. So JNVR certainly on watch right now, but the one we're involved in is NWTG. Daryl Finch. Sharif, Apple gave me that pop to VWAP to short, looking good now, 179.75 short. Let's go, my man, get it. Actually, that's a great trade by you there, especially with the weakness that Apple has shown on the day and the fact that the volume weighted average price has been a rinse and repeat. Resistance level today for Apple, you got a rejection off it over here, 11.15, 11.20. You got it again at 11.50. You almost got it. Was too weak to make it up to VWAP at around 12.30, 12.35. But this is the candle you're talking about right there, that 1 o'clock candle that did pop into VWAP and then, quick as you like, did drop right back south of 180 into 177. So weakness on Apple is glaring, guys. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see that it's well, let's just call a spade a spade. It's almost $100 off its highs. $260 is the level we got into in December. It is at 177.83. Okay, so a lot of weakness right now in Apple as a result, obviously, of these exorbitant tariffs on China, of which Apple relies very heavily. Skull, Sharif, could you talk about your stop loss more on these small cap gappers? Yeah, great call. So what I try to do is I try to either base it on what I perceive to be a clear area of technical support. So if there is price action support there where there's a buyer of note that picks it up every time, I'll try to base it on that. Other times, I'll base it on the prior bar low if I don't have a clear area of technical support. So I'll be like, okay, well, the prior bar was below 3. If it drops below 3, I'm gone. Other times, it'll be a VWAP trade. So it really does depend. It's contextual. There's no one hard and fast rule, I should say, excuse me, that influences my stop placement on these small cap gappers. They're all kind of their own individual trades, and I try to base each one individually. But as a general rule, I'm looking for price action support. So whether that comes in the way of VWAP or actual buying that comes in at that level, it really does depend on the context. But Another thing that I want to mention as well is if you're looking at the small cap gapper in question and the range per candle is really wide, well, then you really can't have a tight stop in those circumstances. Otherwise, you're just going to get cut up. And what I mean by range per candle, so if you look at, say a candle, you look at a particular name and you look at the candle, each individual 5-minute candle, and you say, okay, if I was to average these out, what would the range on a cent or a dollar basis be on a per candle basis? And if it's wider than some others, you need to account for that in your stop placement as well as your profit taking placement. So the range per candle, if it's wide, you should have loftier profit-taking goals, and again, for stop losses, you should have more aggressive or farther down stops, because otherwise, the range in that candle will either stop you out or take profits prematurely if you put it at too low of a level. So that's kind of just my thinking about these small cap gappers. Speaking of which, if we lose 3 here on NWTG, that will be the end of my trade, but we were able to certainly extract some profits on this one. On the move up, shout out to Cal Mandu, nice channel, nice comment. Thank you for that, my friend. Hope you're having a good day in a bit of a tougher market.
Yeah, for sure, and that goes for everybody. Most definitely tough, guys, and with this volatility, expected. Size down, go a little less shares. Especially on days like today, if you were to look at the options chain and see what the at-the-money IV is, as an options buyer, you essentially want no part of that. That's going to translate into the intraday trading as well, too. So just widen those stops, go smaller share sizes, because you can see that we're just trading within these large ranges, and that's not always easy to navigate. All right, so we're going to continue to hold on to some things here. We're in the TQ. I was hoping that we had this nice volume spike to the top side here, Sharif, and I was looking for the continuation. It doesn't look like buyers are ready to step in just yet, but we might get them. But let's see what Adair's up to.
Be aware here for the market. I still could not find any news to explain that violent pop to the upside, which then sold off almost immediately afterwards. But it is worth noting, we heard reports earlier today, probably a couple hours ago, from Axios suggesting that President Donald Trump would be vetoing this Senate tariff bill, which basically would seek to limit his authority to impose these tariffs. But the Office of Management and Budget, which is an executive branch of the White House, has just come out here saying that Donald Trump would in fact be vetoing the bill. So confirmation here from the Office of Management and Budget of the White House, Donald Trump will not be allowing this bill to go forward. He will be vetoing the bill of the Senate to limit his power to set tariffs. So looks like these tariffs are likely to stay on, at least as far as that front is concerned. Back to you.
This is a problem I think we're going to encounter. Great reporting, Adara. So you saw Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, come out. I forget with who, another senator, and basically his position is we can't be governing economic policy using emergency powers. And that's the power that he's employing right now. He's using emergency executive power to say that there's a trade deficit and this constitutes an emergency. Therefore, I'm using presidential executive powers to levy these tariffs. Tariffs would be in the scope of the competency of the legislative body, so the Senate and the House, right? And he's usurping that using these emergency powers. Okay. So they don't want to be governed. What Rand Paul, his thing was, he doesn't want to be governed using, all the concentration of power into one person, especially using it on an emergency basis.
That's fair.
So we'll have to wait and see how long this goes on for, but you haven't seen widespread dissent quite yet from fellow Republicans. You're starting to see some cracks, right? Like with the Rand Paul thing that I was just talking about there. So we'll have to wait and see whether his own party kind of comes out and starts questioning his decision-making, and if they do, to what extent, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's going to be really interesting to see.
The one thing that I think a lot of, again, besides the uncertainty, the people don't think that these tariffs are going to stick throughout the whole year, but the quicker they get to the negotiation front, then I think it'll be better off for them. So again, I don't think these tariffs stick for the whole year. Let's see what Adair is up to. We added to this TQs trade. It's starting to work out for us.
Okay.
So it looks like the White House has canceled this press conference between Donald Trump and Netanyahu of Israel, Prime Minister of Israel, scheduled to take place at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. It was on our Trump calendar for the day. I'm seeing reports here on X that apparently the White House has canceled this conference. So again, it's a couple of different things I'm seeing Initially, it looks like a White House or a Wall Street Journal reporter had posted this. Now it looks like the White House is saying this themselves. Apparently, this Netanyahu-Trump press conference scheduled for 2:30 p.m. has now been canceled. So just something to be aware of. Initially, we were expecting comments from Trump at 2:30 p.m. Looks like that is off, as far as I can tell. Back to you.
Interesting stuff, man.
Very interesting stuff. We took some off here on the TQs, guys. We'll pull up my chart and see what we got going on. Started really small. I just talked about, can we pull up my chart? Again, starting really small. We talked about the increase in volume. We waited until we held those specific support levels. And then once it started to stair step back in, we add to the position, looking for the crack of this key pivot 1040-60. Again, heightened volatility. Those pullbacks are going to be significantly deeper. I took off 33% up here, waiting for that break of this high. I'm going to hold off to the remainder, 66% there, Sri.
All right, bro. We're still holding here, NWTG. Here we go. It's showing me 12s. The spread's opening up, though. Boom. We'll fill it there. Now we're waiting at 18s. We got a couple more out, so let's go ahead. Now we're waiting at 18s. Now we're going to wait at 25s. So one of my favorite numbers. So we'll see if we can get that move up here. It did take out previous candle high, but, you know, if I'm being honest, it feels a bit consolidative here. Really, the only thing that's trending in my humble submission is the higher lows. But with respect to the higher highs, we may have to wait a little bit. That is going to come if we can take out that 350 level, technically 348. So we'll see what we get there. On NWTG. I'm still keeping an eye, believe it or not, on JNVR. It is halted again to the downside, and that is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's one outline candle, 6, 7, 8. So almost 8 candles with lower highs in a row, with this candle here at 1 o'clock being the outlier. I'm assuming that has something to do with the pop up there that we got at 1 o'clock in the overall market. What's going on over there, Katina man? The Katina man's long, what, say that again? The Katina man is long $35 on the TQs, and I'm just looking at Apple right now, and it took 180 again, Katina man, so I'm figuring that the future is moving back up to the upside in an aggressive way, so let's have a look at that. So here we go. The closing print, by the way, which is why we keep rejecting this level. The closing print, I don't know if this is Friday's or overnight high, is this, 17,532. And we keep rejecting, and we have been rejecting that since 11:30, 11:40 this morning. There's your area rejection, another area rejection, that 1 o'clock pop. And here we are again, right at that closing print. This is the NQ June contract, so we'll keep tabs on that. See if the future wants to pop back up. Back to NWTG, still no prints at 18s. It did wick into 17s from what I can see, but it didn't cross. Now showing me 16s. Let's see if we can get something a little bit higher here, Joseph. We're waiting at 18s and 25s.
Nice, good look there. So there we go, guys. We took a little bit more off on the TQs. A nice trade working out really, really well. I told you about just being patient. Our first entry didn't work out, so we'll go 2 for 3 on this trade. So that's a good 66% percentage win rate on the TQs, short initially, and then we tried the long at the breakout, just kind of front running it. Didn't work out, so we got out, and then we got a much better price here as we continue to climb higher. Now, I think it's Scott Tomlinson. Yes, so I don't disagree with you, but one thing I will note, and just from my experience, when you're looking at liquidity grabs, you're going to notice these liquidity grabs on lower volume, so you break through key support and resistance levels, but that volume isn't supporting the break. The reason why I entered this trade was because of the high amount of volume, but then when we started to cool off, that volume really started to decay. That's really important. But then it started to pick up, and that's why I additionally added. So am I going to claim this as a false breakout or a liquidity grab? Not necessarily just yet, because the volume is supporting the thesis. And I think that's the big difference between being able to identify a liquidity grab, a fake break, or a genuine move. It's just being able to display and correlate volume. And that's exactly what we did here. So that's why I believe that we can continue to climb higher. I was referring to the path of least resistance here, and that's to the top side in the market. There is significantly more puts. So therefore, if a lot of retail traders are buying these puts, they're bearish. But what does that tell us? That tells us that the market makers are essentially synthetically long. What do they want? They don't want that underlying to go much lower. That's why you get these big bounces. You see that we're continuing to break. Genuine move. Let's see what Adair's up to.
keep an eye here on the market. I just want to clarify. So we had earlier, it looked like some reports from a Wall Street Journal reporter on X suggesting that the White House had canceled its press conference between President Donald Trump of the U.S. and Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. Now the White House has actually confirmed, yes, we have canceled this press conference, but Trump and Netanyahu are set to apparently, quote, field questions during their their Oval Office meeting. They have a meeting set for 2 p.m. Eastern, so keep an eye on potential comments from Donald Trump at 2 p.m. Eastern with that in mind. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. The conference has been canceled at 2:30, but 2 p.m. we might be able to get some Q&A. Back to you.
Adara. One more thing here briefly, Sharif. I think this is going to be a potential target here in the overall market, especially because that buying pressure is being sustained, and you can see the strength within the time of sale. So that's what we're going to hold on to. It's 42.50.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great look there, Joseph, especially since that higher high, too.
Yeah, exactly.
That changes the situation there.
Exactly.
Good call by you on that. Still nursing this NWTG trade. Let me tell you the truth, though. The volume's dropping off a little bit, and there does seem to be a bit of a seller in the high teens. What's keeping me optimistic about this is the umpteen amount of higher lows that we have on every successive drop. So I'm trying to pack my patience. As I mentioned, I'm waiting at 18s and 25s, but it's been a hard road to hoe right now and can't really take out that high teens 20 penny area. So keep tabs on that. Someone was asking me to look at MKDW, and I saw this one earlier when we started the show, but it was doing nothing, and nothing's really changed with this one. So this was a small cap gapper that really started moving in the It started moving at 9:55. So after the bell, and it did decent volume, it popped up, dropped, so a bit of a bull flag there. Then it really bull flagged, but that was as many bull flags as we were going to get positive bull flags or bullish. Yeah, well, they would be called bear flags otherwise. That would be the last bull flag that we got because we got that bottom break through 90 pennies. I was involved in this one, but it had to basically keep that 90 penny area. Otherwise, I wasn't going to have it. And in fact, that 90 penny area ended up being important because once we lost it and dipped down into 65, we tried to recover. And lo and behold, look where we rejected off that 90 penny area again. So we're going to keep tabs on that one. Unless it clears VWAP, I want nothing to do with it. I'm going to have to insist that it get above VWAP. Adara, what's going on?
This part of the show is brought to you by ProfitX. In sports playing, flexibility is everything, and at ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why would you settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
Shout out to ProfitX. Shout out to David as well, dropping cash in the chat. Thank you for $10 super chat. Max love to all. If you do play options in high volatility, know your 5 stocks, and when one moves extremely one way, you'll know. Look for the overreactions, amigos. Thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate your comments there. And yeah, overreactions, they definitely tend to be part and parcel of these volatile markets. I guess really the tough part is knowing where the overreaction kind of ends and where value starts creeping in. Obviously, value traders probably loving life right now. I know I haven't spoken to Alfred in like a few weeks, but he's probably taking his dad's money and buying everything he can with all that gold that he sold. I mean, like that's just kind of his thing. He loves when the market goes down. He salivates, right? Yeah. He's like, I can buy more, right? You know what I mean? Like he's one of those extreme value guys that he's always looking for a deal somewhere.
I mean, Sharif, like, at the end of the day, I agree with you on that front, but it's so tough. I'm glad that I sold that little bit of Tesla. You're aware of that, so I have some cash. Sir. But again, it's just those other holdings, it would be so good. Everybody could be licking their chops at that. But unfortunately, I'm just not, like, I have a little bit, but it's not enough to grab what you really want in some of those names, right? Bro. Even though the swing is looking, we're pure cash in that. We're in and out of specific trades on that one, which we're doing really good. We talked about the Amazon trade that we had last week multiple times and what essentially we did and the thesis we built off of that. And that's kind of the same game plan. I'm glad that we're sitting on some cash. And if you are sitting on some cash, then you have the ability to grab some of these good names at really reasonable prices. Can there be some more downside? Absolutely. But you got to take into consideration that we're now down 20% in the SN and in the NAS, and then 30% in the likes of Google, Amazon, etc. Do these companies deserve these types of haircuts? Maybe, possibly. I don't know. One thing to know is that surprisingly, I wouldn't be surprised, Sharif, if that the Q1 numbers are pretty good, but it's the guidance that lead us a little bit lower there.
For sure.
Right? So,
I mean, think about it. I mean, what you're saying makes absolute sense. If you're going to have to factor in these tariffs into your input costs, into everything that you need to do to run a business, well, then it's not affecting your past sales. It's all the future.
It's all the future.
I completely agree with you on that. But you
want
to assume, Joseph, that there's going to be endless revising like we saw today with Danny Ives and Tesla.
Yeah.
That's not a small price cut. Let me just look at that. What was it, 520 to 350?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's not light. We're not talking pennies here.
Like Danny Ives and Tom Lee, though Tom Lee said this morning, he's like, I totally priced these tariffs wrong. He's like, I made a big
nobody
mistake.
knew that they were going to be the quantum that they were, dude. Like, nobody thought that.
So again, two extremely large tech bulls admitting they're wrong at this point.
Look at this. 550, Wedbush, Danny Ives drops the price target. 550 to 315. That's
crazy.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like he's still keeping it as an outperform because of FSD and the Optimus and everything else that Tesla possibly has in play. I guess he doesn't want to be on the end where that doesn't participate in that. So I guess he's willing to deal with the short-term drawdowns. I want to see what Aunt Kathy has to say. That's the thing, right?
He has like $1,000 price target on Tesla.
Yeah, more. It's more. Joseph, it's like 2,000. It's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's next level stuff. But I mean, what her position all along has been that this is obviously a future play.
I read those BYD and Tesla comparison numbers.
And?
Did I read them to you earlier?
No.
So they're really, really close. Here, I'll pull them up here real quick.
But when you look at the acceleration of who's expanding more and growing more, it's definitely BYD.
But it's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Well, dude, think about it. 2018, they sold 100,000 EVs. Now this year, they're selling 1.7 million per year.
You got to see the size of their factories. It's the size of Manhattan, man.
800,000 workers.
Yeah, it's not small.
100,000 engineers.
It's not small.
They are ready to take the car game. It's one of the largest. What is it? It's the 8th largest car company in the world now.
Yeah, well, it's like
just like that. It's larger than Ford, Honda, and Nissan.
Oh my goodness,
it's insane.
Yeah, it's next level. It's next level stuff.
I didn't know it stood for Build Your Dream though. This is very interesting.
Look, I mean, we'll wait and see exactly what the Chinese do. Rigetti, everybody's saying is moving. I mean, I had Rigetti on watch, guys. It's on the side chart right here. Let's look up Rigetti. Knees are heavy. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it is coming off the volume-weighted average price. It's a higher-low type situation, but there was also lower highs. So this one looks like it has broken trend. So good call by you guys. I think that trend break probably is what's operative here. And now we have a higher-low, higher-high situation off that volume-weighted average price. I'd love to see it. In fact, I would insist on seeing it hold above 810, 805. If it was to lose that, then we're looking at least 790 into the volume-weighted average price. I don't really want to trade Rigetti today. It's not one that I really had eyes on, so I'm going to let that one do its thing. I'm really looking at SMCX, OKLO, JNVR, and NWTG. SMCX obviously is an equity derivative of SMCI. So it's about 28, SMCX, excuse me. Yeah, it's a 2 times long SMCI. So this one will move twice as aggressively as the actual stock will move. So look for an outsized move on that. So keeping my eye on NWTG, that's the one I'm involved in right now. Not really a whole lot to talk about 10, 15 pennies on the money, give or take. But yeah, it does seem like it is the market at large now, or the market at large on the NQs, the ES, and that's really caught everybody's attention with the NQ finally going green. I don't know when the last time the NQ green was green, excuse me. but we're at, 0.1. We're barely green on the NQ. Let's just put it that way. What I do like is that we didn't give up 5,000 on the ES. We're in fact almost at 5,100. We were talking this morning on the big desk about possibly 5,000 or 40,000 or 4,050 or 40,075 being support. So we'll see how that all works out there. But it does look like the NQ will stay green now. We're up 1/3%. Apple's above VWAP. Nvidia's coming in to that $98 area. Meta's about almost at 520. Microsoft's going to go green. Microsoft's been red all day, so the market is turning at the moment. You can kind of get that feeling. So good look there. All the Mag 7 names, baby. And there's Brendo. It does feel like we're getting a bit of a pop here. We'll keep tabs on any news items coming in. We already know that Donald Trump has canceled his afternoon presser with Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, who is in town. Get it. There we go. We got the Chilean Nightmares now on the 1 and 2, baby. So we're gonna get some interesting sound effects, because I know he loves to do that. Shout out to Fabian, man. What's going on? Oh, you're saluting the American. Okay. I didn't know it worked that way, Joseph. I thought you were your nationality.
That's a double salute right there. That's all right.
We got a buddy in the back of the algo room who serves in the Canadian military. Awesome guy. Tells us all about it. And he was trying to recruit a couple of people from here into the reserves, myself included. So I actually wanted to try it out, just so that I can learn how to use firearms, right? Because I don't have my pal. I know you have.
I can teach you how to.
Say that again, Fabian? Do they need any journalists? Yes, if we go to war, sadly, they probably will need journalists to document the war. So I know they have.
I love a good war documentary, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't they have camera people to film all that stuff when we are in war?
Yeah. So, which way to the front lines from here is like a fantastic war documentary. But I could teach you how to. We can handle some firearms, Sharif. There's no.
I know, but in this country, it's so touchy.
Well, now it is, but it was never before. It was never before. I don't understand what the issue is. I mean, not the majority, but such a large part of our geographical landscape is north and bush, and you have to be prepared for what's out there. We got bears, everything, right? You got bears and everything.
You can't be up in certain parts of the Arctic without a firearm. They won't let you.
I wouldn't even think of that. Just going into polar bear territory. Same for Scarborough, he said. Yeah, same for Scarborough.
Wow, Peterman just took a shot there at the east end of Toronto. But you are.
I would much rather up here.
I don't think you want that fed deal.
Hey, listen, if you're going to Brampton, you got to check in with Neil first, all right? So make sure.
Make sure you're checking in. Shout out to my man Zai. Zai in the chat. It's called Combat Camera. It's an actual job in the military. I know, brother. I didn't know what it was exactly called. Thank you for clarifying that for me. But I knew that was a thing. Obviously, there has to be, I don't know if there has to be, but there always is. All the conflicts that I can remember in the past have always been covered by the media, whether or not they're embedded. I remember in the Iraq War, they would embed the journalists with the military troops, right? There was that whole thing, and then that NBC News anchor guy that lied about being in combat zone. What's his name? Brian Williams or something like that.
Did he
completely lied about it? About that he was in a combat zone. He watched all this, and then they booted him because he lied about it. It wasn't even stolen valor. He wasn't even in the military. He just lied about being there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, so guys, here we go on the TQs. We got that breakout, and then we got that extended move to the top side. If we can pull up thanks, Fabe. So here we go. Enter, add to the position, and then we just slowly start to piece that out. So a really nice trade on that breakout. I mentioned that we might run into that key level that I was referring to earlier. That's 42.50. So we almost got there, knocked on to about 42.18, and then now coming back in. This could be a potential area to add. Guys, I was referring to the path of least resistance. There was nothing on the call side, all right? There was very little open interest on the call side, and we had significantly more open contracts on the put side. Then we get that pop-in news in the volume there, and then now you can see us gradually start to climb through, breaking through some key resistance zones, no longer constructing those lower highs, and now forming higher lows at the bottom end of this trade. And that's exactly what we were looking for. We front-run it the first time, didn't work out, but the second time, once that volume stepped in, we held those support levels, we took that trade to the top side, and now it's working out really, really well there. When you guys tag Joe Schmo in there, it tags me first. So I always think people are calling me a schmo because it doesn't put the full thing in the orange. You see what I'm looking at? You see what I'm
No,
seeing?
no.
Oh, I guess you can't see it.
Responding to Daryl Finch.
Yeah, I guess you can't see it there, but it always does that. So I think people are calling Joseph, and then they call me a schmo, but then it goes on to do what they have to do. Oh, okay, so yeah, so this was the game plan, right? I wasn't trading Tesla anymore. Hood's kind of back at the high of day, but I'm going to show you guys what I have established for a potential bounce trade thesis here on the daily chart on Hood. So again, we have a high volatility day. So once this candle finishes its print, we're going to have a large volume print here. But what I was essentially getting at, and what I was doing my TA over the weekend, I had two tickers from the basket of stocks that I was looking at. That was Hood and that was Baba. Joseph, why are you trading Baba? I know, I was asking myself that too. So that's why I kind of swayed more towards Robinhood. So what we can see is that we're now down. At this open, we were down 54% from the peak to that current low. I'm like, okay, we're way oversold in this. I understand the effect that there may be less people owning equities. That means there's more cash. That means there's less assets under management. Not good for some of these broker names. But what I was looking for was a temporary bounce and a fill of the gap play fill, essentially. I would have played the break here to the move to the top side. But what is really important to note about this strategy is that I would have wrote a call against it. So I would have been at the money by that $34 strike price, and then I would have sold a call at 44. So that's going to give me a $10 spread. What does that do? That allows me to reduce my gamma exposure, especially because I'm further dated out, but it also helps cool off the volatility in the fluctuation, the rate of change in the fluctuation of the contract prices. And that's what you need to do, is go further dated out and use those one-to-one hedges to reduce the volatility in your contracts. And that was the name of this game in Hood. Is that going to come into play now? I have to be a little bit more patient and kind of just adjust the trade style, but that's going to be the game plan. I'm playing the base off of this hammer candle, Gorev, Los Polios, all my other pivot, all my VPA traders. But now that that candle was broken to the downside, you need to be patient and wait for something else to be established here, Sharif.
All right, I'm long GameStop at these levels. We're taking out some prints over here. It's popping up, and I don't know why, and I kind of don't care. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one, looking at wetting the beak now at 40. I'm also long OKLO. This is looking like it could flat top break. So we were making the case earlier that it was putting in lower highs with that flat bottom. In Oklo's case, it was around 2140 for whatever reason. Now it's just taking out these highs. So going to go ahead and wait over here on OKLO at 43s, and then we'll wait at 48s, see if we can wet the beak there for a flat top break. Anything below 2220 gets me out of this trade. Let's look back at GameStop. What are we doing? Boom! To the high side. So we take out some shares there on GameStonk. Let's set up a little bit higher now. Let's set up in the high 40s. So we're going to throw out an order there on GameStop. Let's see if this one wants to run. I got a price spike alert on GME, so I don't really know why it's running. I'm looking at the news blotter. Nothing's coming in on my side anyway, explaining what's going on with GME. So if it drops below 20, that's the end of the trade for me on that one. Keeping an eye on OKLO again, because this one looking like it does want to trend to a bit to the higher side, waiting for the first oh, we did get a print on that. Okay, good. So that's not a bad look there. How many shares do we have on this one so we can layer properly? Let's go ahead and wait a little bit higher than this. So we're going to wait a little bit higher. We're going to go into 55s or so. So let's go ahead and hang out at that 55 area. It's already showing me 1145, so not a bad look. GME, zigging and zagging, so we've taken out a decent amount here on GME, not the entire thing. Still a couple of prints there going, a couple of orders going unprinted as it drops back down into 30 pennies. GameStop, again, nothing coming in on my news blotter to explain why GameStop is pumping up, but I got this GME price spike down. That was earlier, and then I got the price spike up notification. So what it just does is it lets me know vis-a-vis the news blotter when something is spiking up and down, and I can make a decision on whether or not I want to execute on it. All right, so still waiting here. We're about 10 pennies in the money, nothing to write home about. On OKLO, I'm looking for that 50 penny break. It's been really hard to take out this level. So by definition, having my order at 55 presents me with a bit of a tough situation because we know that it's rejected there initially at 1050 all the way up into about 11. So 10 minutes of rejection. Then again, from 1140 to about 1150. So multiple area rejections right at that 2250 area on OKLO. Let's see if the winds of change are coming on this one. We're already going into the high 40s, so not a bad look. How's GameStop doing? All right, we're back into the 40s, and we took out another print on GameStonk. Let's see if this one wants to take out that 50 penny area. Adara has something for us, so let me know when we're going to her, when you're prepared. I don't want to put pressure on you, Fabian. You let me know. And here comes that OKLO print. We're waiting at 55s, but it is a 4 penny spread, so maybe we'll get the fill when we get back from Adair.
I don't have any news on GameStop, but I can provide some context. So basically, I guess some people over the weekend on GameStop posting some videos very excited that even as the NASDAQ dropped, GameStop actually had a little bit of a rally over the past 2 days. So they're saying GameStop is back. Now we have a lot of furor on X over the last, I guess, couple minutes, especially really heating up. They're saying that the battle for $25 is back as well. I guess $25 is viewed as a key level for GME. So that is the context here for GameStop. Basically, a lot of the people who follow the stock online are very excited about its move over the last couple days. Back to you.
Thank you for that, guys. New traders, listen up. First month free.
Bang.
That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything infinite data. Instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. There you go, guys. Katina Man's using it. Sharif's using it. E-Signal, all in one platform. You can do, they even did it. Some platforms don't even allow you to go into replay mode during live market sessions.
What a shame.
E-Signal allows you to do that. They pulled up a tick chart previously before. And if you can base executions off that, even better. Guess what? They have an options chain.
Okay.
So there you go. You got everything in one platform, Sharif. So
like
go check out E-Signal right there. Scan that QR
See your
code.
friend Donald there, what he did at the White House?
No, was he
so the Dodgers were coming in because World Series champs. They invited the Dodgers over.
Yeah.
And then look what your friend Donald said. We have a couple of senators here. I don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce them. And the Dodgers all started laughing in the background of Donald. The dude's killing me, bro.
Yeah,
he's
crazy.
killing me. That's Donald 1.0. We need a Donald 2.0.
Yeah,
he's aged a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a little thinner. You know, he looks like he's got that GLP-1 turkey neck. You know what I mean? Like, no.
There's no way.
I have no idea. If he is, I'm talking smack.
78.
And what's it called, Fabian? Okay, well, do not repeat this. Thank you for saying that. Because I was about to say it.
How come
Thank
I didn't
you,
get to
Fabian.
hear that?
He was talking to me. Yeah, I can't say that out loud.
I don't know what that means, so, yeah.
I can't say that out loud. Okay, I gotcha.
All right, yeah, we definitely won't repeat that one.
That's a good one, Fabi. I'll give you that, my man. Guys, NWTG is breaking out right now. We're not involved in it, and more disappointed in myself I could not be. I should have been definitely defending that $3 level. Here we go. It's taken out 3 1/3. The only thing left in its path is that high day, 348, essentially a 350 high day. It's putting in big boy volume now, and you can kind of see that with the time and sales is kind of really churning there. You can kind of see the tape pick up speed, and when that happens, that usually means it is a breakout in process or a breakdown in process. Here we go, showing 40s now. Can it clear 50s? I'm talking about NWTG. It's the best looking, I want to say. Small cap gapper, it's not the biggest percentage winner. That title goes to JNVR, but that one looks like it is past its prime. So we're going to keep tabs on that. Still involved in GameStop, about 15 pennies in the money, but that last little fill there at around 50 going unprinted. That could print as we make another attempt at the high here, the local high that is on GameStop, showing me 45s. It does seem like there is a hidden seller at 24.45. So we'll see if we can take out that hidden seller or what the situation is. That is the second time we reject that in so many minutes. So we'll keep tabs on that. And we're doing real well here on Oklo. I'm very pleased with how I executed on this trade. I did like this trade for the flat top break, and I took it, and we just took out some there in that 69s, excuse me. Now showing me 72, so we didn't get the top, obviously. True to form, we leave some money on the table there. So we'll keep tabs on that. Still involved in GameStop, but absolutely interested in getting involved here on NWTG should it take out that high of day. Joseph Grinder, chart is smiling. He says, yeah, why? Is it putting in a rounded bottom with like a couple of outlying prints in the middle there? Ricky G, that was funny, but Streamlabs didn't like what you had to say there, Ricky G, so it held back your comment. Streamlabs and Bears versus Bulls will get very upset if you,
Hey, I'll put you on timeout.
If you step over the boundary, step over that line, like stepping over the line like a habitual line stepper. You ever watch that before?
No.
No? There you go. My man knows exactly what I'm talking about.
There. So you get the triple bang. I need you to do me a favor though, Sharif.
What are we doing? Okay.
Hit it twice for me.
What is happening?
Music, man. We don't even got any music. Pull up the chart. Pull up the chart.
Oh, that wasn't me, by the way.
Stay in the game.
That wasn't me.
Like, subscribe, and let's go.
Wow. Oh, my days, my days, my days. We gotta pull up mine here now, guys. Make sure you hit the like.
Joey,
look at the armful too, bro. Look at that armful, like the old B-boy. I like it. I like it.
Let's go. All right, guys. Good stuff here. I mean, the market going right back towards those highs. This is fantastic. We're holding on to this last little bit here, almost hitting that $3 club in TQQs. So a good look. That's what I was referring to. It was just a matter of time until that volume stepped in. You guys were like, say, Joe, start putting on some trades. I'm like, I just want to wait. We got a really, really high probability setup coming here with the price action. Ooh, we don't like that. We don't like that there. Oh, no, Sharif, we don't like that. We started dancing too early.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, wow. This is insane. Started celebrating way too early, 42.60. We were going to look to take some out. I mentioned that resistance level right here at 42.50. You see that we tap right into that and then reject. You see the aggression on the time of sales here, continuously flushing. Guys, look at the tape when you run into key resistance zones and see the defense. And that's exactly what was displayed right here. Now we're starting to climb higher. That strength in the bid is on the ask. You can see the imbalance on the level 2 as well. A lot of information to be digested, but you can see the strength on the time of sales. I only have one out left. I'm going to continue to hold this one here, but a really, really nice trade on the TQ, Sharif, playing that breakout volume. That was no liquidity grab. It was a genuine move.
That's what they call a big boy trade.
A big boy.
A big boy trade. There you go. There you go. What are we doing?
The raccoon was there.
Okay.
That's why we were dancing there. So.
Thank you, Tom Train, for your nice comment, brother. We try to keep it light. I know it's the midday. A lot of people want to chill out a little bit, but there's always trades to be had on. So we'll try to do both for you guys. Obviously, drop the jokes, drop the comments. We talk serious as well.
Yeah,
we talk these markets seriously. Let's just call a spade a spade. The long-term account has been beat up.
Oh.
And that affects the psychology a little bit, whether we want to admit it or not.
I came in here laughing. What else you want me to
Yeah, well, exactly.
I
was laughing too, bro.
Yeah,
we both were laughing.
Yeah, we both know what's going on. We both know that our long-term accounts are just getting absolutely taken behind the woodshed. But all you can do is laugh, right? All you can do, sometimes you don't want to laugh, but on days like today when it's just like so overdone, all you can do is laugh.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And your friend Larry Fink, you have a lot of friends, Joseph. Like you really
I don't know what I was going to tell you, man. I'm not like that friendly. If I don't eat at the table with you, not necessarily my friend.
Hey, I like that. Yes.
So,
good standard there.
Thank you.
So, no, seriously though, Larry, I like that, Fabian. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, said the following comment today. In the long run, this is more of a buying opportunity than selling opportunity. That doesn't mean we can't fall another 20% from here too.
Absolutely.
Which I happen to agree with wholeheartedly. Whether or not it takes us years or months to see all-time highs again, we'll find out shortly. Adara, tell us more.
So I guess we're seeing a document now suggesting that the EU, or the European Union Commission, proposing a counter tariff on a wide variety here of U.S. imports at 25% in response to U.S. steel duties. So apparently proposed 25% tariff on a range of U.S. imports from the EU. This would take effect on May 16th. They also did remove the U.S. bourbon from its list of goods to face counter tariffs. So again, EU reportedly working on some counter tariff measures. Also, I was seeing one comment here that some people are attributing to this push to the upside in the market. More specifically, Zero Hedge is attributing this comment to this upside move we got over the last hour or so. Basically, Josh Schifrin, who is the head of risk management, I guess, at Goldman Sachs, saying that he is now bullish and it's time to start scaling into the market. It's worth noting, though, this comment came a little bit after we got this initial upside push. So basically, long story short, EU reportedly working on some counter tariffs of 25%, and head of risk at Goldman Sachs getting bullish. Back to you.
For that, Adara. So there you go, getting some news from the EU. Very important trade partner to the U.S. But Scott Tomlinson, this is what I wanted to touch on before I sent it back to Sharif. He said, well, Joe, well done, sir. You were right. Yes, I was right now. Am I going to be right all the time? Absolutely not. So I'll tell you that straight up. You said you thought one thing was going to happen. I said another thing was going to happen. This time around, what I said came into play. That's not always going to be the case. Some days you'll be right. Some days I'll be wrong. So I don't want you to think that I'm over here being like, oh, yeah, I'm right. No, that's not the case. Today I was right. Tomorrow I could be wrong, and vice versa there, Scott.
That's a very humble take and very level-headed statement there, Joseph. Thank you for that. Bovin, I don't like VVPR right now. I see the volume coming in, Bovin, but it's it's still down 6%. But yeah, nice look off the low. Shut it to Bovin. Keep your eyes out on Bovin's calls for these small cap gappers. Excuse me. He called them out. He calls them out well. Shout out to him. Thank you for that, Bovin. I always joke around and say that, you're my second pair of eyes, my man, because when I can't keep my eyes on the scanner, obviously, at all time, you always help me out, Bovin, so I do appreciate that, my man. All right, GameStop, we're done this trade. We took the 25 pennies quick as you like on GME here. We got long at the $0.25. We took it out at the $0.50. Simple as that. GME's up 3%. Nothing really to write home about there. But it is now JNVR, boys and girls, that is starting to change its tune. It dropped down into 25 bucks, an area that we kind of know was a support area before. Look at all these prints here in and around 25, all of which got defended. And now we've broken that lower high and lower low trend that we were involved in basically since 12:45 today on JNVR. That trend has come to an end, and it came to an end, I'll humbly submit to you, at 40 after the hour. So we've been 11 minutes now in higher highs and higher lows, at least on the 5. We are still south of that $32 area. Seems to be an elusive target for whatever reason. 32. We have been above 32. Don't get me wrong. We weaseled all the way up into 35 and change. But look at the closing prints. There's one closing print on the 5 that's above 32. Everything else has rejected that $32 level. I don't know why, and I kind of don't care. But I'll base my trades off it. So for example, if I was to look for a long right now, I would be insistent about it closing above 32. The reason is it's shown its propensity to retrace below it if it is to wick above it. So we're going to continue to watch here. There's not that much time left on the show before we send you to the big kahunas, Neil and Sean. But that $32 area will be in focus for me if it comes into fruition before the end of the show. go. So that is the look there. So what's going on? You good?
Yeah.
I don't think he meant it like, I don't know if it was meant like that but yeah, I'm not really sure what the hell is going on there, Joseph. It's an interesting time. There seems to be a lot of new viewers, and you know, with new viewers obviously comes in newer habits. So yeah, we're obviously very appreciative of all the newer viewers. We're doing record numbers, obviously, as you guys could tell. But yeah, a lot of newer
With that being said, Obi and I had this talk last week. We love that everybody in the chat, but you guys got to understand you have to stay positive and you have to stay constructive. If anything along those lines, Bear vs. Bulls, myself, or Sharif will see what you guys are saying, and we don't want any of that negativity. This is not a negative space whatsoever, and keep it positive, guys. If you want to be negative, go do what, what's his name? Who's that comedian says if he wants to say something negative, he writes it down. What's his name? Why is it not coming to my head? Who is that? You know who I'm talking about.
Sebastian Maniscalco?
No, he's the country guy. Oh,
the guy that does the Trump?
Oh, man, no, not Shane Gillis. Okay, Chad, help me out. Who am I talking about? Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn said if he has something negative
I didn't even know he was a comedian. I thought he was a podcaster. I have no idea.
Theo Vaughn? No, he's definitely a comedian. Yeah. If Theo Vaughn, he says if he wants to say anything negative, he just writes it down.
See the beef he got in with the Logan, with the Paul brothers at the inauguration? They pulled a seat.
Oh, yeah.
They were sitting behind him.
I thought the seat broke.
He was pissed, bro. He got mad. He legit got mad. Yeah,
Theo Vaughn. Yeah, so just write it down. Not in the chat. Write it down on a piece of paper if you want to be
And look, guys, I just want to build on something that Joseph said. You can criticize our trades. Absolutely. But if you're going to troll us to make us feel bad about ourselves, why would we keep you around? If you have a genuine criticism about how we executed, how we misread something, come at me. I will learn from you guys. But don't come at us in, like, you know, trolling ways.
You suck, blah, blah, blah. All this. Be like, hey, I don't like what you did, and we respect that. Right? Constructive conversation. You don't like it, that's fine. We can have a conversation about it, but don't be degrading or anything along those lines or say creepy stuff.
Joseph. Alan, I'll just say that. Do you ever count the green bars on the way up versus the red bars it takes for retracement? That's a great question. So initially when I started trading, there were like all these different styles that I experimented with. Oh, if I see 10 red bars in a row, then I'll automatically go long because, you know, statistically speaking, there won't be 11. I've seen that whole thing. I tend not to trade that way. I try to trade off technical levels that I see, support, resistance, moving averages, follow the trend. You know, I just try to base it on that. But I see what you're saying, that there are a lot of quantitative traders that base their methodology on statistical probability. And if you have 8 red candles in a row on the 5, the statistical probability, I'm not saying this is true, I'm just making up some numbers. The statistical probability that the 9th candle is red is like, I don't know, 0.1%, whatever it is. So there's a whole batch of trading that follows that methodology, but that's more quantitative than it is technical. So
Jose showed me a sick algo that he's working on right now too, to just describe what you were referring to.
Interesting.
So he has it. I don't think it really matters. So essentially, it's an X amount of bars that have bottoming tail or topping tail candles. Then you take it in the direction of the tail.
Again,
he's borderline a genius.
All he does is program Python. I see him back there, bro.
So I really like that one. It was a really lucrative way to look at it. And I'm like, how can I implement this into a discretionary aspect?
That's a great call.
So yeah, really.
Los Polos Hermanos, Black Monday, 1987 crash was all over in X, including Kramer. Interesting. Alan, it was just a random idea I had, but I'm glad I was able to run it by you guys. I appreciate it. You're not far off, my man. Again, I don't know if that specific strategy counting candles, but there's a whole batch of traders that just base their trades off statistical probability, right? They're called quantitative traders, quants, we call them. So, I mean, and a lot of technicians, Michael Noss included, are trying to incorporate aspects of quantitative trading in their analysis. We know Raider Trader does as well. Shout out to him. Great options trader like your boy Joey Options. So lots of different traders are trying to involve different aspects of that. And I think it just adds to the basket of skills that you have. And I don't think that could necessarily hurt you, especially if you see results from it. So great call out by you, and I do appreciate you say that. Tez, I'm a coder on Trader TV team. Trading now, I know Python. All right, sounds good. Whatever. I don't know if you're trolling us or what, but sure. We'll keep an eye out on that. NWTG, Joseph, it did reject that 340 area, Fabian. It did its best to try to clear that area. We were looking for that 350, but it didn't come to fruition. So about 3 minutes left on the show. I will still be watching this, believe it or not, because that higher low situation on NWTG hasn't changed. Despite the fact that it can't weasel up into that high a day of 348, the shorts can't seem to put in a lower low. So that is as equally as important as well. So I just wanted to mention that. Got rats. What is that? Python? It's a programming language, like computer programming.
Yeah.
That's what that is. But I don't know. You know what? It was interesting. I was listening to a lot of these guys in the tech world. You know, these podcasts always have different guests on. And a lot of people seem to think that the programming language of the future is going to be English. You're not going to need to know C++, C#, Python, Java. You're not going to need to know all these anymore because you're going to be able to dictate to the large language model what you want done. But he was saying that math still super important because you're able to come up with different ideas of structure because you're so smart in math. And like, so that's what he was saying. So even though regular Joe Schmo, I don't mean that in that sense.
But seriously, no, I have no idea.
Myself included, we come in, we can write a simple program that gets the job done, but we can't be as creative as somebody with a math degree or master's or a PhD in math that can kind of set it up different.
I agree with you. So on that front, Sharif, before when I first started trading, I had a different platform at home. I was retail trading, and we had these scripts. They were hotkey scripts, and they were called calculated fixed risk. But the coding of it was too complex for my liking. So what did I do? I just typed in on Copilot, to be exact, Sharif. I said, make me a script with a risk to reward ratio of 2 to 1 with $30 risk, calculating my stop and my profit targets at a 2 to 1. And I literally typed it in, copied and pasted, and
for
the
IB?
script worked. Yeah, and it worked.
Get the hell out of
No, for DAS.
DAS. Well, same crap.
Yeah, same thing, right? So I just literally typed it in, and I'm like, here, I tried it. I put it into the sim, and I tried it, and it worked flawlessly.
No way. Good
yeah,
for
man.
you,
So
bro.
it can just do
connected
anything.
literally the API. Good on you, man.
So it's
Good
just
on
like
you.
anything you want. And that's what I did, right? So like, dude, that's why I got really good with defined risk. I know it's 2 o'clock, but what I had is just I had a system that implemented my share size, my stop loss, and my 2 to 1 profit target all in one script. I hit one key and it gave me all 3 of those features.
That's fantastic.
2 o'clock.
It is 2 o'clock. So it's time to send you to the big boys, Neil and Sean. You can already see your boy Neil, long IBIT. Long WBA, not the World Boxing Association. Oh, you like that WBA, welterweight champion of the world.
That was a good one.
All right, guys, it's time to send you over to Neil and Sean. I will see everybody in a quick second at the green screen, but Joseph and I will be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.
Thank you, everybody. Short the World Boxing Association. Because, well, I mean, you have a sport that, you know, kind of just lost its way a little bit. And no one. Hold on a second. That's not controversial. Everyone's like, what, UFC.